Heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know. What happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Up and at 'em, kids. Up and at 'em. We got a lot to discuss this morning
as we get you going here. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, welcome in on a Wednesday morning where we will discuss transfer portal discussion. We will discuss all kinds of really interesting things that you may not be very happy about as we get you going here, Preston, on another chilly January morning, the third day of 2024. We're excited to have you along for the ride. Welcome in, as always, to Florence, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Don't ever forget, not only can you listen to us there, but you can go to your app store, download the 107.5 The Game app, click, be a part of us anywhere you go. Just even if you're not in our listening area, if you're traveling in the state of Florida, if you've won the lottery and you were in the state of Michigan and you want to still listen to us, it's all free. You can go and join us. And Preston Thorne, transfer portal.
Let's go.
Finally closes up just a little bit. David Tepper gets a significant fine yesterday.
I guess.
I mean, seriously, is that significant to him?
Well, I mean, depends on what you define as significant.
I don't think you get to have that amount of money and you're happy giving away even a nickel.
I believe that's true, especially probably not to the people who work for you.
I'm pretty sure that with that amount of money, you're not thrilled whether it's a dime or in that case $300,000.
That's how he keeps the money.
Yeah. There's a reason. There's
Correct.
a reason. Some people not only have good jobs, make a lot of money, they keep a lot of money because they're not out, buying bottles of Buffalo Trace or whatever bourbon they might like, or buying 19 boats. They tend to they were able to keep their money. And so when you have to give away $300,000, I'm going to assume you aren't a happy person. Now you might feel like you're justified in it.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Even the apology didn't quite check out. We'll get into that a little bit. This morning, we'll do a little bit of a vibe check on the SEC. No SEC in the national championship. And for some reason, I kind of don't mind this all that much. But the question is, how do you feel about the SEC after this past season? Like, is it still the king of the hill? Did it take a back seat to the Pac-12? Maybe even the Big 12 this year, the Big 10? Oh, we'll do a little vibe check on that this morning as we get you up and get you going. But we start with the news that kind of occurred last night. We'll tie this in because I tell you what, the transfer portal, if you're not a fan of a particular team, Preston Thorne, like if you're just a fan of college football, I think you're like, man, this transfer portal is pretty cool. You've got it. You're going to break it down a little bit. You look at the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks that participated this past weekend. It is interesting that two of them had not transferred. That's honestly, it's kind of like the day and age, probably in about 2000, maybe 2001. I felt like I was the rebel because I did not have a tattoo. There was a day and age, right, where we all looked around and was like, everybody had tattoos. And if you didn't have a tattoo,
the tide shift.
You were the rebel.
Yeah.
You were the one like,
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's out of control.
I stayed.
Yeah. So we'll get into that.
What's going on with him?
Yeah. That guy's crazy. Don't go near him. Don't bump him in the shoulder. But let me ask you, last night, you see that news, Grayson Howard, we'll get into this a little bit more, Pup Howard. That certainly was kind of the big news last night. And it matters and it doesn't matter. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, let's all train ourselves to understand that this is a part of the new possibilities of college football. So train ourselves to understand it, train ourselves to get used to it. I don't know what we necessarily expected. I do think this is particularly interesting because of the place and scope of where Grayson was placed in his class. But at the end of the day, he's essentially one of the number. And trust me, Carolina football will play next year. You will go to Williams-Brice, and you will cheer for somebody else wearing number 5. So that's wishes, sir.
But I still think some of this will hit. Now, maybe jersey sale. I would love to know what jersey sales are for a lot of these players, because I still think that kind of stuff is going to be impacted. Like if they try to say, well, we'll sell merchandise and you'll make money off of that. Who's going to invest in that anymore if you can't even guarantee they're going to be here a year?
It's the same as it always has been. You're not buying the jersey. You're not buying the jersey. You are. Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't say it in that way. You're buying a number 1 jersey or a 5 jersey or a 7 jersey. I mean, because that J.D. Clowney jersey, number 7, came back full circle this year with Spencer Rattler. You had
it's like bell bottoms.
Yeah.
They just, like any fashion trend, they just go out of style and then you just hold on to it long enough. Boom. My JD jersey.
Yeah, all of a sudden you were like, I was ahead of the curve.
That's by the number, not the name.
Hey, if you had a Marcus Lattimore jersey, you're like, Nick Ebenwari. I mean, the jersey style might be a little bit different now, but you were like, I got the retro Ebenwari.
Platform shoes are back.
These jerseys, I think this is the good part. The university is at the forefront. They understand now why you don't retire the jersey, because now your Steven Garcia jersey could have been your new Pup Howard jersey. That will now be maybe.
Well, and then with the way numbers work now, since players you have double numbers, so now you had the Carry-On Joyner and a Pup Howard jersey. So it's still a Carry-On Joyner jersey.
We might. I don't know whether to save it because there's other stuff we're going to get into, but this might have to go back to your favorite South Carolina jersey.
Ooh.
I had a Todd Ellis jersey and I had a Sterling Sharp jersey, and I would probably lean with the Sterling Sharp jersey because he was just that was the first player I ever remember at South Carolina, like the superstar. Like, oh man, Sterling's incredible. But we might have to ask you that because that Sterling Sharp jersey, that is the retro jersey, and thankfully I've grown and I could not fit into that now. We'll get more into that. We'll let Preston break down a little bit more of the transfer portal. I'm with you. This stings not because of Grayson Howard's production on the field. It does sting because of what he could have been. I mean, this is why I kind of agreed with something I saw on Twitter last night, that it used to be a lot of fun to follow recruiting, and then when you land kids, you go, all right, we're going to develop and we're going to build them up. Maybe their freshman year is not this all SEC or all conference kind of player, but after year 2, in season 2 and season 3, boy, we're going to really have something when we pair this guy with that guy and this guy, and we let them develop together. That stings, but this stings more because of the fact that Grayson Howard was like the face of last year's recruiting class. Like, he was we interviewed him on this program. I think it was right before you came on. That way it was. It was about a month before you came on. And that guy was as pro South Carolina as anybody I had heard. And I don't know what changes. I don't know if this is the way the youth act now. I don't have an answer for that. But yeah, man, this is a situation that you're like, ooh, you had a guy who was so in on South Carolina, so in on this coaching staff. I don't ask questions, so I don't want to know. We will get the story on what changed here.
I would love to hear the story of what actually changed, whether it was circumstantial, in the building, out the building, at home, in his life. I don't know. Who knows what changed? But obviously things have changed.
803-404-6100. We'll get to that. Again, we'll do a little vibe check on the SEC, get to some David Tepper this morning. We got an update from Preston on NFL, on Gamecocks in the NFL. They're kind of rolling along, doing all right. Good for them. So we'll get into that a little bit. A lot to do this morning. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry ready to weigh in on the transfer portal. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
I'm doing okay. I'm not going to knock anybody's transfers. I don't know the situation of the transfer, But I can say one thing. There is no loyalty in players today. The players seem like it's got all the control. Something has got to be done. But I'm not going to knock it out. If they want to transfer, transfer. If you need to transfer, transfer. But remember, I know Juice Wells, he transferred to Ole Miss because of $200,000 differential in NIL money. $200,000. The Gamecocks paid him so much money for a year to sit on the bench. All of that rehabilitation he had to sit on the bench, and then he ups and transfers to Ole Miss. I'm not knocking it, but if something ain't done, college football is going to be ruined. And Bill, you said you like it. Well, I don't know, Bill. You must be getting kind of, I don't know, in your era. I'm still saying you're a young man. You're a youngster compared to I don't know. Well, let me shut up about that because I'm getting all fouled up. But one thing they can't take from old Gamecock Larry, they cannot take my Gamecock Larry dragster team and my motocross team. They can't take that. Motocross team with Jace Clark took everything this year. And the dragster team with Gamecock Lucas, he called the show quite a while. Gamecock Lucas and Gamecock Wesley took number 1 place and number 2 place. So you can't take the Gamecock Larry racing team away from him. I'm proud of him. But I tell you, Clemson fans, I listen to the Clemson station from 6 to 8. I hear all your Clemson bragger, what do you say, Bill? Whenever you're bragging, you didn't say one word last year. That's nothing. 360 more days have to take up all this stuff. But I'm still going to listen to you. I ain't going to let it bother me. But it does kind of make me kind of mad. And I want to, all my friends, family, friends, and Gamecock, Clemson Nation, everybody, remember my daughter in prayers as she goes under surgery this morning at 7:30. She's my rock. But I'm going to have to do it. You got to recuperate. I told her to go ahead, old Gamecock Larry will be all right. That's about all I got to say, Bill, but I don't like your idea about you like this transfer portal. You better, okay, well, I feel good. Feel like old Gamecock should. Once a Gamecock, always a Gamecock. Transfer portal, NIL or not. I still love my Gamecock. Everything's going to be all right. Go Gamecocks.
There you go.
I cut him off.
Yeah, I got to admit, I got to admit, from a South Carolina fan standpoint, no, I'm not crazy about it. If I was a Florida Gator fan, no, I wouldn't be crazy about it. But you know what? I really enjoy what we just got this college football season. And you'll get into that a little bit in the next segment. The transfer portal created a little bit of that.
All of it.
We will do that. We got a lot to get into this morning as we roll along. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you so choose to do so. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Download the 107.5 The Game app and listen anywhere. The beach, the gym, and yes, even there.
family throws its way. Get the best internet experience in the area with plans starting at $39.95 per month for the first 6 months. Plans include a free Wi-Fi 6 smart router, premium Wi-Fi, and the FTC Wi-Fi app to manage your network. To learn more, call 888-218-5050 or visit ftcinet.com. Servers may not be available in all areas. Certain restrictions apply. Offer for new internet customers only.
Bill Gunner here with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you in need of a guru in this market, Jacob will get you taken care of. Just a few years ago, he helped me, and I personally recommend him and First Palmetto Bank, who's owned and operated right here in the Midlands. Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Bill. It's nice to have the band back together. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products to help homebuyers keep payments down. Also, if you're considering building a home, we have a no-nonsense construction loan to fit your needs. If the new year brings change, we can help you. Give me a call, 803-719-1005.
Great news on the housing market having stabilized. So that makes it a good time to buy?
Absolutely. That sums it up, Bill.
Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My MLS number is 198432. First Palmetto is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Decker Boulevard at Two Notch Road. That's the only accident we are reporting right now. Definitely not complaining. We hope that your morning commute today, Wednesday, goes well. Mostly cloudy today, a high of 54. The overnight low tonight getting down to about 34. And mostly sunny for tomorrow, high of 55, overnight low of 27. Friday, 51 and 36 for that overnight low. So bundle up this morning as you're getting ready to head out the door for work or for school, because it is kind of chilly right now. We are looking at 28 on the early game.
The early game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Eight 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning if you so want to do so. You can do it on our Firehouse Subs text line, where several of you are doing that. Let me read a couple of these. Rich weighing in this morning said, Beamer preaches family and togetherness, so why so many transfers? Why are so many guys looking for the door? John weighing in this morning, he says, Mr. Gunner, you're getting real irritable lately. First, you don't like Home Alone anymore. Now you don't like the SEC. Come on, get it together. And then he gives me the smiley winky face. He says, just kidding. Thank you for that, John. Yeah, Home Alone. We discussed that. A lot of plot holes there. Well, we won't take you back down that avenue this morning. Let's see what else. One other one. Anonymous Extra weighs in and says, or David weighs in and says, fans need to realize that players don't love the school like we do. It's totally a business now. I do agree with that. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Richard wants to weigh in this morning. Richard, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. In my opinion, for schools like South Carolina, Mississippi State, NC State, teams that are in the middle of the pack, this transfer portal and NIL deal are going to be the ruinization of our football programs. And if you think I'm being extreme, you're wrong. How can we possibly be expected to compete with teams like Alabama and Ohio State? We don't have the resources. We don't. So every year, our roster is going to get pilfered, and we'll have to rebuild every single year. I don't understand why so many guys are looking for the door when Beamer talks about family. Why are so many guys looking to get out? It makes no sense, and it's going to be the ruinization of our program. I don't ever see us winning more than 6 or 7 games ever again. We just can't compete at this level. We can't. We don't have the resources.
Just real quick, let me ask you this. Why do you think Mississippi, or do you think Mississippi has more resources than South Carolina?
Obviously they do. Obviously they do.
But what do you think they are?
People like Juice Wells all this money? Obviously they do.
What do you think they are?
Sorry?
What do you think their resources are that South Carolina doesn't have?
I don't know. Maybe they've got more famous alumni. Maybe their boosters are more willing to kick in money. I don't know. But they obviously have more resources than we do.
Okay. I think until we discover that, it's hard to answer what you just said, though. I don't think you can quantify that, because I don't know if, Preston, do you think Mississippi is a school that has more? They have an in-state rival just like South Carolina does. I don't think that they have the boosters that are much more wealthy. I think the boosters came together. Maybe there was a better job of explaining NIL. Maybe there's something like that. I don't have the answer, Richard, either. And thank you for the phone call. But do you think a school like Mississippi, who's killed it in the transfer portal?
No, not markedly different. And I would also point to those schools that you mentioned. Alabama, they're losing players in the transfer portal. Georgia just lost a player through the transfer portal. Players are leaving. And I would also position that most of us do not necessarily care about any particular player, because, Bill, 2 players went in the transfer portal yesterday.
You're right about that.
And you know what? Nobody cared about the other one.
We've only mentioned one, yeah.
You know why? Because as fans, we are only invested in our own personal interests about this. So it's not about the transfer portal or players leaving. We only care when it's a player that we thought was going to benefit our own personal interests, being fans. When Cam Sandlin left yesterday in the transfer portal, don't see a bunch of fanfare or ire or even care about that, because he hasn't contributed to the team yet. He may have been a developmental guy. Maybe have been someone that would have possibly contributed to the team in the future. But I would just position that idea of, well, we're never going to compete because they have more resources than us. That's a loser's attitude. That's loser language. And if that's the case, then we might as well just stop playing. I don't agree with that. I don't think resources are the only way I don't think financial or money resources are the only way to compete. There are teams that have shown that they've been successful without having the tops amount of money. You do need a baseline level, and we have that baseline level here. So that concept, if that's the attitude that we have, why compete in anything? Why go to work every day? There's plenty of David Tepper has a lot more money than I have. Yes, I should just give up. Yeah, I don't understand that concept.
I do think, and this is kind of to Richard's point, you have to identify. Now, look, let's be honest about this too, because Rich weighs in and talks about all the guys South Carolina's lost. South Carolina's lost Juice Wells. All right.
Cam Sandlin.
No. South Carolina's lost Juice Wells, who's a contributor and a good football player, and is a guy that you need. They've lost Mitch Jeter, and I've talked about it. You can make the case that Mitch Jeter is the biggest transfer loss to date because of how South Carolina could score with him on the field. If South Carolina got to the 35, you were kind of guaranteed points because of the way he kicked the ball. I mean, again, let's not go have that huge discussion. They've lost those two and they've lost Stone Blanton, who was a starter and who played a lot of snaps. And whether you think he was good or slow or great or bad or whatever you want to describe him, that was one that, okay, he was a depth piece, excuse me, at absolute worst. You're right. We didn't care about Cam Sam. As you see, I'm getting all choked up here.
Choked up.
I care about these kids. I'd forgotten about Cam Sandlin. But to that point, you're right. We didn't care about Cam Sandlin because we didn't see him play. We didn't care about Kylik Horton, and who cares? He maybe he transfers somewhere and he turns out to be this great player. We didn't care.
When Colton Gauthier left, everybody said, "Oh man,
makes sense,
great man,
understand."
Glad this guy played the guitar here. He was here, Gamecock forever. He graduated. Good for him.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it comes down to. Who are you losing? Who are you losing in this situation? You look at Florida State losing Tate Rodemaker, but replacing him with DJU, which is great for all of us because now, boy, you talk about that storyline for Clemson and Florida State. We'll get into a little bit of the transfer portal because if you look at it also, Washington benefited from it. Texas found their quarterback. Now we'll see if Southern Cal, who's picked up Will Howard, the transfer from Kansas State. It's a crazy situation. The reason we care about Grayson Howard is because of the audio clip that we'll play for you coming up from a year ago. That is one that sticks out because I don't think it's about. I'm kind of with Rich on this. Like, you're supposed to have this culture, and I think we're learning also with the transfer portal more and more about the word culture in college football. I think personally, what I said a couple weeks ago, is there any loyalty in college football? No, I think loyalty is out the door from the fans, from the coaches, and now from the players, even more so that they have power. Like you just said, loyalty. Is there any loyalty to poor Kylik Horton? No.
What about Cam Sandlin?
Yeah, there's no. But to Richard's point,
what am I going to do with my number
20? It was 20.
20 jersey.
I think it was 20. Yeah, Tyshawn Russell's 21.
Oh, yeah, it's a Kevin Harris jersey.
Yeah, it was a Kevin. We'll get into that. Lot to do. But to Richard's point, South Carolina can compete. I disagree with what he said there, but you've got to figure out how you compete. And I don't know that's what he said, what I agree with. I don't know how you do it. 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to choose to do so. We'll let Preston get into the transfer portal a little bit more in depth when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
Ever been on this date?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine.
And thought, man, I'd rather be listening to the game right now.
Welcome in to the afternoon show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the game app. Sure, you may no longer be with that person anymore, but you'll never be without the game again.
It is a new year, and a new year means a little bit of change. And if you're thinking about making a change, purchasing a brand new home, you know what? There's no better time to give Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru, a phone call. 803-719-1005. That's right. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. And First Palmetto Bank and Jacob Crowder are ready to help home buyers keep payments down. So if you're considering building a home, you know what? First Palmetto Bank has a no-nonsense construction loan to fit your needs. Whatever you may need, Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru with First Palmetto Bank, is ready to help you. So call him 803-719-1005, or you can even email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. Jacob personally helped me just 4 years ago purchase the home that I'm living in, and I'm grateful he did it. You can do the same. Get started today. It's 2024. Change is here. Call Jacob Crowder, the mortgage guru, today.
People that don't get time off this time of year are pro athletes and us at Bet Online. With pro football bowl season and pro basketball in full swing over the holidays, Bet Online isn't taking a second off to make sure you have all the up-to-the-second odds, news, and info. Head to Bet Online today to stay updated on all the action. Happy holidays from Bet Online.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where you always get the highest and best experience and the lowest possible price guarantee. But this holiday season is even sweeter with special savings and incentives that you simply won't find anywhere else. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on 6-packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are just $2.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Introducing Herndon Certified. Herndon Certified used vehicles are quality assured and come with our 60-day warranty, complete with nationwide coverage. Don't just buy a used car. Buy a Herndon Certified used car and drive with confidence, knowing Herndon's got you covered. Find your perfect pre-owned in-store or online at HerndonChevy.com.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Honey, would you take a seat? I have a confession to make.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, I was out driving today and I saw some hookers on the side of the road. A bunch of huge, professional, beautiful-looking hookers. So I did what I was supposed to do. I slowed down and I moved over.
You slowed down for the hookers?
Well, yeah, it's the law. There was a whole fleet of Schroeder's towing trucks assisting with an accident. Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
Schroeder's Towing reminds you to slow down and move over for all first responders.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
The Game on Demand podcast menu. Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner. 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Two incidents to let you know about this morning. Jacobs Mill Pond Road at Wood Creek Farm Road out there in Elgin. And Decker Boulevard at Two Notch Road, we also have an accident. Weather-wise, we're looking at cloudy skies, 54 for the high, overnight low of 34. Tomorrow, 55 for the high, and then overnight low of 27, 51 on Friday. But it is a cool start, and like we have said, we are going to have these chilly starts for the remainder of the week. So you're going to want to bundle up when you're headed out to work, headed out to school. But right now, fair skies, and it is 28 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.35 as we get you up and get you going on a Wednesday morning, one that apparently is got people riled up, Preston. Cold weather normally, kind of slows the heart rate, brings you down. Nope. Transfer portal is the antifreeze to that. It gets you up and gets you going, gets the engine running.
Everybody's just so riled up about Cam Sandlin transferring, man. It's been surprising.
So let's play that. This is the truth, though. This is, I think, number 5, Jen. This is why I think people care about the Grayson Howard, the Pup Howard transfer. This is Shane Beamer from last year, I believe on signing day. Here's him talking about Pup Howard.
Yeah, Grayson Pup Howard is unbelievable. When I told you guys last week about a text message that I got from a recruit saying we want people in this program that will die for this university, that was Pup as well. And he's unbelievable. And just his personality, his obviously his ability as a player speaks for itself, but when you get to know him, like you guys are going to love him as you get to know him also. I mean, he's just got a great personality. He's so positive all the time, competitive, mature, business-like. I mean, and he did a great job of recruiting these other guys and just the momentum that he created because he is such a national recruit. He turned down so many great programs to come here. Was a huge pickup for us, and he's going to make our program better from day one.
All right, so that's what he had to say about Pup Howard. Now let's hear what he had to say about Cam Sandlin. Yeah, no, there is no audio, is there?
I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I had that yet.
Yeah, there's the point. No offense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Jen's face right there, not just looking up, but that's the point. And because the truth of the matter is, on the field last year, Howard didn't do anything where you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, what are we losing? And Preston, I'll ask you this real quick because we see this now with other teams, with Quinn Ewers at Ohio State to Texas, Michael Penix going from Indiana to Washington. You know, you can look around. Alabama picked up Jermaine Burton from Georgia. Again, you can kind of look around and see a bunch of this. But the point is coaches might want to now start being real careful what they say in those signing day press conferences about how great of a kid that is.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that is that Shane is doing his sell job. He's trying to sell the class, the recruiting class, to us as the fans, and we're getting excited, and it's all part of, we're all agreeing to play a part in this, and everything he said could be absolutely true.
It is. It probably
At the time it was.
Well, and that also, so two things. At the time, it was probably 100% true, but I would also say that at that time, Pup Howard was a first semester senior who was getting ready to leave early. I tell you all the time, they are teenagers. Thinking that a teenager who has not even gone through his whole high school career is fully able to make every decision, you might want to pump your brakes. That's one thing. And then the second thing I would say is that all of those characteristics, hardworking, business, truthful, all of that still could be and probably is still true. He just won't happen to be doing that for us this year.
I think as we enter 2024 and you get these New Year's resolutions and there's a lot of you who will do the dry January and do all that. 803-404-6100. Am I kind of right on this, or am I out there on my take? It's where a lot of you are now having to change your lifestyle very quick for like a month. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning. I'm going to learn to get up. And then you wake up at 5:30 and you're like, I'm going to hit the alarm. A lot of college football fans right now are having to completely adjust. It's like going into a new year. And this, I know it's year 3, I think, of this transfer portal like this, but we're having to completely adjust our mindset to how we view our team. In my view, I loved recruiting. Number one, I worked in recruiting. It was a lot of fun to go out and do that. And the reason I say that is because it has always been when we get a recruit, and I say we, and that we can be Georgia or Alabama or South Carolina or Florida or whomever. When we get a recruit, we look toward the future. Lou Holtz would say, we'll know in 3 or 4 years what that player was. It's now looking more and more like the odds of you getting to know what that player will be in 3-4 years is down to 15 or 20%. This is why, whether they help the university or they don't, you respect a Luke Doty. You respected the Kerryon Joyner. Those two guys in particular, and Brad Crawford had a tweet about that last night. The Kerryon Joyner could have gone anywhere he wanted, whatever he wanted to do.
Maybe.
Well, not anywhere. He probably could have gone to Bama or Georgia or Ohio State or whatever. But he could have easily gone to an ACC school. He probably could have gone to another a lower level SEC school and been given a chance. He didn't. Luke Doty, again, I don't know what his prospects would be in the transfer. I have zero clue. And it doesn't matter whether he's speculative. But you give these young men credit for sticking it out. Not that there's a problem with Pup Howard. We don't know the story.
Correct.
We really don't. For all we know, something's going on back home, a little bit closer. We don't know where he's going to go. There's a lot of speculation last night that he's going to go to Florida. But Preston, to that point, this isn't just, so it's hurting South Carolina. Would Ohio State be in the national championship game with Quinn Ewers this year instead of Kyle McCord?
It's a very strong possibility. Maybe. I mean, Kyle McCord was not Quinn Ewers at playing quarterback. And so that's a big difference. And that's what we talked about when we look at how this is transforming the landscape of college football. It's obviously changing anything. There's a roster management component to everything. And this is the new world.
And I think that's why I say that I think a lot of fans, and me included, it is a complete change, a shock to your system, much like waking up yesterday or today and being like, all right, this is the year I lose the weight. This is the year I stop the smoking, or I cut back on the drinking, or I go to bed at 7:30 or whatever it is, whatever change you're actually having to adjust your lifestyle on this. Now, thankfully, it's college football, and I hope your lifestyle is not dependent on college football, but you're having to change the way you view your team and you view your players.
Yeah, just wait till they get here. Wait to see what they do. And every year you recount and you say, oh, you still here? Cool, man. All right.
Score.
Join back up.
You get a sticker on your helmet for staying.
Yeah.
Loyalty sticker. That's cool.
New Buckeye. Buckeye. You're back for another year.
They should put a stripe, not a C on your jersey, a stripe on your jersey for every year that you stay.
There you go. Darlington stripe.
I think that's what we tried to do with Letterman.
Yeah.
Letters, but
yeah.
See, look, just like everything else, we've already thought of all this stuff.
It's different. And that audio clip we played, I think, is why, again, nobody's looking at this from like an on the field production standpoint. I haven't seen a tweet or about like, oh my gosh, how can we can't replace this guy? Everybody's like, wait a minute, this is a culture thing. Coach Beamer talked about how great this kid was last year, and now 12 months later, 13 months really, because he enrolled in December or practiced with the team in December before they went to the Gator Bowl. 13 months later, he's leaving the program. And right now, Shane Beamer, I don't think he can speak about it legally. I don't think he can actually talk about, maybe he didn't talk about Marshawn Lloyd last year.
Right.
He alluded to it, and it wasn't a happy Shane Beamer, but he can't put out his thing, his side of the story, whereas Grayson Howard, if he wants to, can.
Yeah. And the template for putting out messages. He had his wording all wrong. We'll get to it. Maybe it felt like it was rash because he didn't have the wording. Didn't say with that being said.
Oh yeah,
he kind of flubbed it a little.
His was more sophisticated and almost gentleman-esque as opposed to some of the other ones. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
Yes, that phone in your pocket or purse will keep you in touch with your family and friends. It will take great selfies of you on amazing adventures or just this morning's breakfast. And it's pretty good in case of an emergency. But the single most important function of your phone is the game.
But both defenses have been this year. What's so funny? The noise.
You can listen anywhere. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the Game app now.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Today's birthday shout-outs go to Eli Manning and David Tyree. The 43-year-old quarterback and 44-year-old wide receiver share more than a birthday. Of course, these two former Giant teammates collaborated on the iconic helmet catch back in Super Bowl 42, which sparked a dramatic upset of the previously unbeaten Patriots. Have a great day, fellas. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. Get the home field advantage every time with Fairfield by Marriott, official hotel partner of the NCAA. Whether you're a student athlete working toward your championship dreams or your team's biggest fan, Fairfield by Marriott has everything you need to get ready for game day. From comfortable guest rooms to complimentary hot breakfast, Fairfield is part of the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio of hotels and official hotel partner of the NCAA. Visit fairfield.marriott.com to book your next game day stay.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pigs Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pigs family looks forward to seeing you soon.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are just $2.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get out to Charwood Golf Club today. Bill Gunner for my great friends Rock and Daniel Lucas. Charwood is one of my favorite courses to go and visit. Take my son Austin and go hang out and play a round of golf. You need to do the same. Call today for a tee time. 803-755-2000. Your golfing friends at Charwood Golf Club are ready to host you and have a great day doing it. So call. Line up that tee time. 803-755-2000. That's Charwood Golf Club.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We'll get back into it. Don't worry. I feel like we got to settle everybody down right now just a tad, though. Transfer portal.
And it's okay to get riled up and whatever, but this is my PSA for the morning. Hang up on me. Probably not going to get on for a little while.
Don't harass Jen.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not going to happen.
Don't harass Jen. We don't need y'all harassing Jen. She's got enough she's got to do. Don't harass the producer. That's make that.
I'm your gateway to get on the air.
Exactly.
So just gotta keep that in mind.
Make that your New Year's resolution. Don't harass the producer. 803-40.
And if Bill says that, that's serious because I harassed the crap out of him. So
don't
but I
bother.
haven't yet. It's January 3rd. I haven't even shot anything at you yet. So it's a good year.
True. Bother Preston and I. Don't bother the producer. Just call in, tell her what you want to talk about, and sit quietly till we put you on air. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in, though. All right, are we going to go lighthearted right now? Because you're about to make a point that as a school teacher, as a person who has brought us Charles Dickens and words of wisdom, you read between the fine print.
I just like to read all of the statements. I like to make sure that they're all grammatically correct. Majority of them are, thanks to Grammarly. I'm sure they run it through, but they usually have a format to them. It's like, first and foremost, I like to thank XYZ. Then the second statement is, it's been a pleasure here at XYZ University. The bonds and brotherhoods, we can never break that, et cetera, et cetera. With that being said, and this statement did not say that. And that goes into statements because we're going to get into David Tepper's statement here shortly, and or the lack of statement.
We'll get into David Tepper, who's $300,000 lighter in the wallet today.
Yeah. So anyway, here he says that, thank you to the University of South Carolina. Thank you to the coaches, staff, and my teammates. Decisions like these are never easy, but necessary, period. I will be entering my name into the transfer portal. God bless.
Well, I didn't want to make it serious, but I am interested to find out necessary. That word jumps at and that's why I wonder, is there something a little bit more behind the scenes that's not related to coaches or whomever else? Like, is it a personal issue, family related that matters a little more? Is that something? But because you read between the fine print, we didn't have to respect his decision.
Didn't have to respect.
Thank him for
decision.
that.
Yes.
Look, thank him for that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. There was no. With that being said,
With that being said, no first and foremost.
I was going to say no first and foremost.
He did switch. Usually, the reference to God is in the first paragraph. Usually, you thank God at first, but he kind of played it back. He put it at the end where he said, "God bless," as in God bless you. Any fan who's out there who's about to get really upset about this, bless.
I do wonder in this day and age, because I think we've talked about this. You didn't play with a player that you would consider necessary. I'm trying to think of the right word to say, that transferred out of the program. Phil Petty didn't transfer out. Corey Jenkins didn't transfer out.
Yeah, nobody at the time. I mean, again, that's why I always think it's really interesting. And the phrase "it's not the crime, it's the criminal" comes to mind.
Right.
Sometimes we don't care about the actual thing. We just care about who did it, because that is more salacious. That is the idea. So, as I've said before, there were 22 people in my recruiting class way back when, and 11 of them transferred. A lot less attention, a lot of less fanfare, but people have always transferred. The transfer portal has changed the rules, has allowed moving a lot easier, but people were always looking for ways out, because that's what people do at these given times. But the other point, I want to make sure that I say this, and this is my opinion, and I've stated this. We
need like a PSA when he does that. Like
Preston speaking. This is not Cumulus. This is not Bill. This is not Jay. This is nobody else. This is Preston. I always go under the assumption that everybody is doing things with their own self-interest at heart. They were doing things for their best self-interest. That includes the people that are leaving, but that also includes the people that are staying. The people that leave are leaving in their best self-interest. Best wishes, good luck. The people that are staying in their best self-interest. They're not staying for the greater good, or they're staying because it benefits them most to stay. They've run the cost-benefit analysis, and they've come to the decision that it's best for them to stay. With that being said, we're here. We're glad you're here. Cool. I just don't like the juxtaposition of saying, well, these guys didn't have a chance, these guys didn't leave, and these guys left. No, everybody's doing what's best for themselves. And if what happens to be best for yourself is staying, it's great for everybody.
That's a great point.
I'll say one other thing. Rick weighs in and says, I've lost so much interest in college football and the here today, gone tomorrow nature of it. At least the pros are held to some kind of contract and have an expected time.
Easy way to get a contract. We can collectively bargain this, but nobody wants to do this because then they'd have to share the money.
I'll just say this. I love college football more than I ever have. I hate the offseason. There's a difference. You got to have a difference. You listen to the early game. You know what? Tailgating's still part of college football season, and I love to tailgate. Love going out with the family, with the kids, grilling some meat on the grill or maybe smoking some meat. That's still a great thing. And, of course, to do that, you need some great meat. And at Old Timey Meat Market, they provide that. That's right. It'll be time to tailgate again in just a few months. Maybe it'll be time to start grilling out in hopefully just a few months when the weather turns. And the first place you should go is to Old Timey Meat Market in one of their 3 locations. St. Andrews in Irmo, South Congaree, or, of course, my store, my favorite store, the Lexington store, because I love going in there. They know me. They know what I like. And whether it's a great bacon-wrapped filet, a Italian chicken skewer, or maybe some great fish, a nice big cut of tuna, Old Timey Meat Market has the absolute best selection of meats, of fish, of poultry, along with the absolute best prices. So go visit Old Timey Meat Market today and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop on.
10-year parts and labor warranty. That's AAA's promise of quality and longevity. Ready for an instant quote? Visit their website now. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA, and when you need us, AAA Heating and Air.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. You must have been really good this year because your present is present at Love Chevy. The lot is brimming with vehicles for you to touch, feel, and experience for yourself. Hop in and drive yours home today. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The new year is here. Make it your resolution to shop at Family Dollar this year and see how much you can save. Save even more when you shop with Smart Coupons. Just open the app, clip, and save. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And taking a peek on those traffic conditions out there this morning, we are looking at an incident in Elgin, Jacobs Mill Pond Road at Wood Creek Farm Road. Decker Boulevard at Two Notch Road still working that earlier tie-up. Aside from those two, though, the rest of the Midland's not looking too shabby, and we'll take that this morning for your Wednesday. 54 is going to be our high today, that overnight low of 34. Tomorrow, 55 under sunny skies, and again, overnight low about 27. Friday, 51 and sunny. The rain comes in, lots of rain, it looks like, or at least a full day of rain comes Saturday with a high of 59. Right now, it's 38.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Gamecock quarterback Spencer Rattler, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
The nom de plume.
So nice.
I know he is. Preston is crushing it this morning with.
He's showing what 4 years of education can do. And then you're showing what 7 years of education can do.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hour number 2 is I am having all kinds of issues with the voice this morning and a little phlegm. And I tell you what, it's cold outside.
Actually 28. I said 38. I was hopeful, but it's only 28 right now.
It's colder than Jen thought it was. It's not enjoyable. Bundle up. We've got the warm jackets here in studio with the winter hats.
It's a little warmer in the studio than it has been, wouldn't you say?
I don't know.
Oh, really? Not
Actually,
okay.
I just saw the thermometer go up 1 degree.
Yeah.
That hall area, that bullpen area, that's where I think they turn the heat off at night. So that's coming in. So maybe I do need to shut your door.
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we start. I don't know. We got to figure it out. Winter, just the age. There's something one day coming up soon when there's a little less to talk about. We will get into what happened that made you realize you were old or feeling older. Like, did you roll out of bed and all of a sudden your back like popped and you're like, uh-oh, I've transitioned. Oh no, we've hit a new chapter in life. Like for me personally, it is the cold. Like every year, I am more and more miserable with the cold.
Yeah, you find yourself saying things like, "Oh, it goes through your bones."
Yeah,
you feel it in your bones and things like that. You're like, "Oh."
Years ago, it didn't bother me near as much. I was okay. Like, and it's also having a child and watching my son like go out in the cold or go to school. And I think I've talked to a lot of other people who have boys in particular going to school in like shorts and a t-shirt and it's like 40 degrees. And I'm like bundled up like I'm near the North Pole and you're just like, what is wrong with you? Or when I really started noticing it is when we would go to the beach in like late March or April and the water's cold. And they're like, oh, it's good. We jump in. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not going and getting that. Y'all go have a good time. I think to me, that's the sign. I'm like, ooh. chilly.
Is it that you're old or just a wimp?
I keep an eye on. I was going to come out the wrong way. I will pay more attention to what you're wearing now because I don't want to see any thick coats from you, Miss Midwestern.
No, I was talking about the water, like when you're out on the beach and stuff like that. Oh yeah, no, I'm not stupid. I mean, it's 28 degrees out. I'm gonna wear a winter coat. I've got a sweater on.
I think isn't that like that's a universal like cold weather. It's like the ice bath. How many ice baths did you have to get into?
Yeah, no, and truly.
How many ice baths did you have to get into as a 21-year-old Preston Thorne?
It was never great. And at no time was it ever great. Did it a lot and never
Did it cause you to dislike your trainer?
Well, the line for the ice bath was this. Everybody had to do it, but here was the line. Here was whether you were sane or whether you were like a guy like Ryan Brewer, who we know is certified nuts.
Right.
Ryan's crazy. Well, that's why he was such a great football player. That's why if you know Ryan, he does everything 1,000% full speed. It's whether or not you put the toe insulator on when you get in there. They used to have these little toe sleeves that you put on your feet.
Uh-huh.
And that would keep your toes warm at least.
Okay.
So all the guys that didn't put the toe insulator certified.
I didn't even know there was a toe insulator for.
That's the tricks of the trade. You got to put the little toe sleeve on, then you get in.
But I could see that because if your feet are cold, you are cold.
Mhm.
And that's when we as kids we'd go out and we'd play, and you're in the snow and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, to go back out, you change your socks to kind of help warm up your feet again, and that kind of warms you up in general. Or you go in and you put your feet in warm water. So that does I can see where that would make a difference.
You got to put the toe cover on because if you don't, you're not going to be in.
But did you find that the ice bath helped you?
It did.
Okay.
It did. It like
with muscle recovery.
Yeah,
and all
like
that?
recovery, it revitalizes you.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just because it was so hot out there, you might feel a little bit better. So it's more like it's the scientific thing is supposed to send blood to the different parts of your muscles and things of that nature.
I just didn't know if that's. I know it's proven, but to talk to somebody who's actually done it, did it really make a difference?
Yeah, and that was definitely something I would do. I did like when they first started coming around, but as I got to be an old grizzled vet, I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna be sore tomorrow anyway.
You talk about Jonathan weighs in on our live stream and says slush buckets were absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I know someone on our Firehouse Subs text line has tried to nominate me for a Lake Murray polar plunge. Let me tell you, we will get this wheel of misfortune up and running here. Maybe at the end of the week, maybe next week. We got to come up with a plan here as we go into 2024. That it is a punishment right there.
Oh yeah,
a polar plunge, and the waters come up a little bit, but having to jump in the water in Lake Murray, which I'm sure compared to other places is tepid.
Temperate.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. But this does appear. Raphael weighs in and says, I felt I was old when I was getting a haircut, and without even asking, the lady cutting my hair trimmed my eyebrows.
But good for her.
You sir, correct. As you see on live stream, if you're on the live stream, you see I have a bald head because hair doesn't grow on top of my head. It grows out my ears and my nose now. And I don't know when this started happening, but it was just a recent thing. My barber was like, man, you want me to knock those eyebrows back? I was like, yeah,
right.
I guess.
Thank you. Ask Larry Hagman why that was a necessity.
John weighs in and says, we used to have cool stories getting hurt like on a dirt bike. Now we have hurt going to the mailbox. That's what happens.
True story.
We get a little bit older. 803-404-6100. A lot to get into this morning. Obviously, the news of the morning is the transfer of the transfers, plural, of Cam Sandlin and Pup Howard. We've talked a lot about that. If you want to continue to weigh in, 803-404-6100, how you can do that. You can also hit us up on Twitter at Coach P Tweets, at Will1LWIL Gunter. And if you don't want to just call in and harass Jen, 803-404-6100, you can tweet at her at Jen Jensen Morse. We're going to transition. We're going to talk about loyalty, such as players from the University of South Carolina that are now in the NFL. You got an update on some guys who are having 1 weekend to go, having some pretty good seasons.
Having very good seasons. So there's a couple places to start here. Let's start with Jadeveon Clowney. And I'm not saying that you would nominate JD for comeback player of the year, but I think when he signed with the Baltimore Ravens, it was sort of like a throwaway signing. They signed him for the veteran minimum. They're just going to basically have another guy have a presence. And he's been extremely impactful this year. His statistics have said last week, if I'm looking at my numbers correctly, he had 1 tackle, 1 sack, 1 pass deflection. He's been extremely effective, somebody who's really counted. And you can sort of count JD in the same way that you would count Odell Beckham Jr. as a signing for the Ravens, as guys who had really big names. Now they've come back to this team and they've sort of settled into being roster type of dudes, very productive, not a lot of fanfare around them, but really happy for JD because the conversation around him has been interesting. I don't know how to phrase it, but it's been interesting around JD. But later in his career, he seemed to be found a spot that he's settled into.
I think, hot take, you ready?
Yeah.
Zion Williamson could very well follow the Jadeveon Clowney professional model, that both were, there's that word again, generational talents. Clowney was so good, so hyped, and so good in college, and was projected to do so many big things in the NFL. He hasn't had a bad NFL career.
Correct.
Probably not, well, not that he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But he has not had a bad NFL career. He's made a lot of money. He has had success. I mean, there is a lot of really good things about Jadeveon Clowney, but there's nothing he can do now at age 30. I mean, it's just unfortunately past that kind of athletic prime, and the knee injury took a lot out. There's nothing he can do that will ever live up to the professional hype. He more than lived up to the college hype.
Yes.
But there's not, it's kind of like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow lived up to the college hype more than maybe any player I'd ever seen. But obviously the professional hype, not there. But Clowney can't do anything. Zion Williamson, because of the injuries, it's just hard to see him living up to the professional hype and being. But when he's out there, Zion's been good.
That's another part. So when you think about Zion, it's like he's kind of. But he's been very, very much effective and very good when he's been out on the court. He just can't stay out there. There's another parallel that you think about between those two, is that they were so dominant athletically. I'm not sure if they ever took their games to the next level as far as developing pro skills, and they just maybe topped out at where the athleticism can go, especially once you started getting injured and you lost some of that athleticism. All that being said, he's having a great season on a team that looks to be making some progress towards doing some things. I think this is a make or break season for the Ravens, because the conversation started swirling around about Lamar. The preseason, he was a free agent, which every NFL team rushed to say, we don't want him. We don't want him. Atlanta Falcons, nah, we're good. We don't want him. Charlotte Panthers, nah, we're good. We don't want him. And Lamar's had a great season so far, but he has to do it in the playoffs. That's what he has yet to do on his way to his second MVP. That being said, next Gamecock, Ernest Jones, a tackling machine, set the single season record for the Los Angeles Rams now. Who are they?
Yes.
Okay. You know, that's that part of me being old is not remembering where teams used to play.
You feel like saying St. Louis?
Yeah,
Did you feel like you weren't sure?
Yeah, I was like, where did they play? The LA Rams set the single season record, and last week he had 13 tackles. He's been a tackling machine. And I don't know if I was on the radio when he declared to go to the NFL, I was like, okay, good luck, best wishes. I don't know how that's going to work. And he's been tremendous. And then when he got drafted so high by LA, I was surprised again. But he's really performed on the field.
As you just mentioned, 145 tackles this year. Next closest Ram to him is the safety Jordan Fuller with 93. Jones has 74 solo tackles this year. He's played 15 games, 4.5 sacks. You know, there's a lot of things we can say Will Muschamp did wrong. I contend Will Muschamp's talent evaluations. You look at DJ Wonnum, who was, again, a South Carolina turned him from Indiana. Ernest Jones was the guy they beat out.
DJ Wonnum was having a great season before he got injured.
He was the guy they beat out from Duke. I know he didn't live up to the hype in college, but Keyshawn Nixon is a guy that you constantly wanted to talk about, and you got on the list.
He's on the list again.
Yeah.
Had another very solid game this past week. So you look at all those guys from that Muschamp era. One, it makes you think, man, we wish we would have been better at that time. But also the talent evaluation key is that I saw Ernest Jones playing. I saw his ability to go sideline to sideline. Maybe it was because I was just watching the whole team. But when you look at that defense, Ernest Jones, Javon Kinlaw, Keyshawn Nixon. I mean, you're starting to look at a bunch of guys who played here who are going on and being successful contributors in the NFL.
Look, you go back, that 2020 team that defensively couldn't have stopped the three of us out there. It's painful to go back and look at the talent that was on that team. J.C. Horn is another guy.
J.C. Horn.
McQuamu's another guy that was there.
Another NFL guy.
You just mentioned Ernest Jones is in the middle of your defense. That's a group and that's what I say. There's a lot of things we can complain about Will Muschamp. A lot. The talent that he brought into the program that somehow didn't get coached up but is produced in the NFL is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because that leads to the point of him. He was supposed to be a defensive guy. I haven't been in the tank for T-Rob for a long time. It brings me a little bit of delight when I see Alabama secondary getting torched.
Just getting ripped.
Look at that. Wonder how that's working out for y'all. But also Chris Lamons. He also played for the Colts, 4 tackles last week. These guys are littered throughout the NFL, playing very well in a lot of places. But I think the top, also Kevin Harris with the Patriots, is been back and forth on the practice squad, finally getting his opportunities to play. He's been hanging around for a good enough time. But I think the top 2 for me are Ernest Jones and Jadeveon Clowney. Just looking at JD's story in totality about how he's the narrative about his career. And then Ernest Jones, because quite frankly, I didn't see this coming for him, and I'm really happy for him.
More surprised by Ernest Jones or Keyshawn Nixon?
Ooh,
think about that.
That's a good one.
We'll answer that. We'll also get into something that Preston brings up because this ties in a little bit to the transfer portal as well. All-American games, college, high school. We'll let Preston get into that a little bit. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Got a take? Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line. Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen. 803-404-6100. On your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studios. This is 107.5 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. The Queen Sleep Number C2 smart bed is now only $9.90 for a limited time. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Hi, welcome to FTC. How may I help you?
I want to get FTC internet.
Great. Do you know how many devices you have?
Oh, I'm not sure. Let's see. We have 3 smartphones, 2 computers and a laptop, 2 tablets, and 3 smart TVs. And we have 2 cameras under our garage. Oh, and my son does online gaming. Wow, I didn't realize we had so many.
With all your devices, your family needs at least 50 megabits per second.
50 megabits?
And that's a symmetrical connection, 50 up and 50 down.
And is it true FTC won't charge extra for the modem and Wi-Fi?
Yep.
And free installation?
Yep.
Great, sign me up.
FTC Internet offers powerful connectivity no matter what your family throws its way. Get the best internet experience in the area with plans starting at $39.95 per month for the first 6 months. Plans include a free Wi-Fi 6 smart router, premium Wi-Fi, and the FTC Wi-Fi app to manage your network. To learn more, call 888-218-5050 or visit ftcinet.com. Service may not be available in all areas. Certain restrictions apply. Offer for new internet customers only.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company.
Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. The Gant girls. You know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt.
You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness.
Lise Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Columbia near Whole Foods for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And out on the highways this morning, we are looking at an accident in Elgin that's getting cleaned up, Jacobs Mill Pond Road at Wood Creek Farm Road. We also have a tie-up I-26 westbound before exit 119. And Highway 1 at I-20, they say kind of at the Horseshoe, there's an accident reported there. Again, that's Highway 1 at I-20. And your forecast for today, we're looking at cloudy conditions, 54 for the high, overnight low of 34. Going to be bundling up all this week in the mornings. Really, probably can do that throughout January, to be honest. Really not looking for rain until Saturday, but then supposed to get a fair amount of it at that point. But right now, chilly 28 on the early game.
The early game with Bill Gunter,
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne,
and Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:21 as we get you up and get you going here on a Wednesday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunter, Jen Jensen, kind of bouncing all over the map a little bit, little guys in the NFL. What were you saying about Kevin Harris real quick?
So Kevin Harris had 2 carries last week for 51 yards, I believe, and he had 2 receptions and then 2 carries for 15 yards. And he's been on the Patriots practice squad since he's left here. He's been only with that team, sort of bounced between active and inactive rosters. And the way that they've constructed practice squads in the NFL now, there's not a time limit on it as there used to be. And also you can have more players on the practice squad. So players are affording themselves a little bit more time to bounce in between practice squad and inactive rosters. But the main important thing is that when you get onto the active roster, you get active roster money. And so congratulations to him.
I do wonder if he ends up the next Rico Dowdle.
They're very
who is
similar.
just stuck around the league and just
Very
sticks around the
similar.
league.
And same thing with Rico. Rico's only been with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And because of the way that the new rules are set up, you can have guys that they can bounce up and down between active and inactive rosters. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be the case that you can only go up a certain amount of times. They had a very few number of slots for players in practice squads. So there are players in those types of positions where can afford themselves pretty long careers while not necessarily playing a lot, but getting opportunities here and there.
803-404-6100. We'll get into a few other things. Again, also high school All-Americans, All-Star games for college players. We'll let Preston get into that, but let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Rich wants to weigh in this morning. How you doing, Rich? What's on your mind?
Doing well, Bill, Preston, Jen. As someone who just pumped gas for about 7 minutes, I can honestly tell you that it's still a balmy 28 degrees outside.
Yes.
And somebody from the South right here. This is the reason I live in the South. You know, I don't care for the cold, but you know, like we always say, stick around a couple of days, the weather change, and you'll feel better about it. Which I'm hoping that may be the case. A couple other things. This transfer portal, guys, I think it's a societal issue. A society issue in that, I mean, we see it each and every day in sports and school. As an educator myself, you know, Preston, you can probably relate to this too. You know, you get parents who, you know, may not like little Johnny's teacher, and they come in, well, you know, the quick thing is, well, we're just going to change classes, or, you know, it's not teaching kids, you know, the value of a commitment. You see it in sports. Probably middle school, high school sports these days, in which kids don't get playing time, or they don't, you know, haven't put in the time and the efforts, and so, well, the easiest thing these days is, well, I'll just, you know, I can change schools, I'll go somewhere else, and so I think it has to boil down to some of that. Also, you never know the whole story. You know, like you guys said earlier, you know, Beamer can't comment on a lot of these stories, and you talk with some folks and you learn some of the ins and outs. You never know if it is indeed a playing time thing, is it a family thing, is it a you know, wanting to get back closer to home. Again, I think it needs to go back to putting a little value on that commitment thing from the get go. You know, and that begs the question about Preston's comments earlier about these are still kids, you know, whenever they make those decisions. So, and I think those are all things that kind of weigh into it. It is what it is. That's where we're at these days. Speaking of kids, Preston had an opportunity last night to go down to your old stomping grounds, down to Somerville High School, for a little basketball game, men's basketball game, boys basketball game. Preston, for Somerville being one of the biggest schools back in the day, I got to tell you that Cracker Jack box of a gym we got down there was definitely packed to the rim. Good thing that the fire marshal wasn't working last night, which I joked with the guys on the way out, because it was standing room only. It was wide open. Great basketball game. Lexington, #1 in the state. Taking care of Somerville right at the end, right there, pulled away at the end with some defensive efforts. It ought to be a fun season the rest of the way as we get into region play, and then probably see some types of Somerville, Lexington on down the road, since they both match up in that lower state bracket, you know, for that February run.
Appreciate you. Glad you made it down there. I know the player Yannick Smith. I know he's a big basketball guy, and they were talking about him as far as football recruiting. I believe he's committed to East Carolina for football, but he's very good on the basketball court. And you're right. You know, in Somerville, if you have to draw up a pie where the resources are going, they're going to McKissick Field, not necessarily to the basketball gym.
That's definitely the case. I can tell that by the banners and the number of titles that were on the board up there, as far as football and baseball, basketball. They only got one hanging in the gym right there back in 2008, whenever AJ Green was a senior, another football player right there. And the young man last night didn't disappoint. He made some big shots last night. It was neat to see athletes and, you know, guys out there playing more than just one single sport. Absolutely. And excelling in both. So it was a good deal. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh. We'll get into a little bit more on the All-Star games, because this is the crazy part. This is where you talk about the transfer portal. If you're paying attention to these All-Star games and what's kind of happening, man, you're kind of fired up about Dylan Stewart and Josiah Thompson. Like, they're coming to your program. Oh, we're going to build around these guys. Now you're like, we're going to just be excited about it for 1 year, 2 years. I don't know. But we'll tell you about these all-star games, a little bit going on more. Also, we'll get into David Tepper. And then if we just want to anger you, we'll play the Caitlin Clark buzzer beater just because she's a villain.
Yeah.
And she loves it.
I want to say I was first to this take. I want to say this was one of my initial takes that I let off early, Thorns, Buds, and Roses, and I'm glad that it's coming to fruition.
We'll get into that. A lot to do. If you want to weigh in, it's my 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Brakes for less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. It doesn't matter what kind of car you got. Call 888-261-STOP. All we do are brakes for less.
Hi, welcome to FTC. How may I help you?
I want to get FTC internet.
Great. Do you know how many devices you have?
Oh, I'm not sure. Let's see. We have 3 smartphones, 2 computers and a laptop, 2 tablets, and 3 smart TVs. And we have 2 cameras under our garage. Oh, and my son does online gaming. Wow, I didn't realize we had so many.
With all your devices, your family needs at least 50 megabits per second.
50 megabits?
And that's a symmetrical connection, 50 up and 50 down.
And is it true FTC won't charge extra for the modem and Wi-Fi?
Yep.
And free installation?
Yep.
Great, sign me up.
FTC Internet offers powerful connectivity no matter what your family throws its way. Get the best internet experience in the area with plans starting at $39.95 per month for the first 6 months. Plans include a free Wi-Fi 6 smart router, premium Wi-Fi, and the FTC Wi-Fi app to manage your network. To learn more, call 888-218-5050 or visit ftcinet.com. Servers may not be available in all areas. Certain restrictions apply. Offer for new internet customers only.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with Zerorez. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where you always get the highest and best experience and the lowest possible price guarantee. But this holiday season is even sweeter with special savings and incentives that you simply won't find anywhere else. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
How wrestling really works and how you get the ratings. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson explain on 83 Weeks.
I mean, I dig Jey Uso because he's born out of great storytelling and he lived up to the opportunity and exceeded it. The LA Knight, he's way up on my list because here's a guy that's been around for almost ever, should have probably quit a half a dozen times, and he just forced his way into their life. And now he's making money hand over fist. That is a story I love.
83 Weeks on YouTube or wherever you listen.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit more2adhd.com for additional information. That's more2adhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
It might be hard to imagine, but there's a place where you can find a restaurant on every corner. A place where you can eat like a king for as little as $1. It might be hard to imagine, but this is the same place where the school lunches aren't just delicious, they're themed, with palate pleasers like Mozzarella Stick Mondays, Taco Tuesdays, and French Fridays. Heck, even pizza counts as a vegetable here. This is a place where the fast food just keeps getting faster. You can even order delivery right from your video game console. And how's the food, you ask? Well, it is to die for. Don't believe us? Just ask the friends and family of the 300,000 who did last year. Welcome to the state of America. Welcome to Obesity USA. Population 115 million and getting bigger by the day. To learn more, go to visitobesity.org. That's visit obecity.org. Brought to you by the Pennington Biomedical Research Foundation.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And we do have a couple incidences out there that I would like to share with you. I-26 westbound before exit 119, an accident. Also in the cleanup stages, Jacobs Mill Pond Road at Wood Creek Farm Road. Highway 1 at I-20, an accident there. And one other to let you know about, Spears Creek Church Road near Highway 1 or Two Notch Road. We're looking for a high today of 54. Just have to get there, obviously. It's a little chilly to start with, but your overnight low tonight will be 34, 55 tomorrow with that overnight low again of 27. By Saturday, we will have some rain coming in and a high of about 60. But right now, it's brisk. It is 28 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I don't know if public enemy number one in women's college basketball is Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese certainly got up there, but she's kind of dropped off this year. He's
just kind of yucky.
Angel Reese?
Yeah, I just think she's just kind of crude.
She's just in your face. She's just in your face. She's in your face. She's the nails, the putting the hand to the face. And she won a championship. If Caitlin Clark had beaten Angel Reese in the championship game, Caitlin Clark would definitely be number one. But if you're a Michigan State fan, sorry, Chris Popa, feel bad for him last night. Just nothing going right for Sparty this year. Then turn away for just a second. Here's last night, Iowa knocking off Michigan State in women's basketball.
Are they going to get the ball up in time? Clark for the win! Yeah! She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W.
By the way, did somebody hit a golf shot? Did you? Or was that the net?
I will say that
was impressive.
That swish was about as it sounded like somebody hit the button.
Yeah.
Like somebody piped in the swish sound.
I'm very curious. Is there literally a mic?
I'm sure it's mic'd some sort of way, but even with that,
it was so perfect.
That was perfect.
It's unfortunate. It's not been a good year for Michigan State. This is not going well. And sorry to my buddy Chris Popa, who says, why do the sports gods continue to pile on Michigan State?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, forgot about that.
Just
welcome to 2024.
Does anybody figure out where Mel Tucker's at now? Is he just
somewhere counting his bread?
Right.
Or the money he lost? Good luck, Mel.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in on that tough night there.
All I was just gonna say is I was early to this. I'll state my claim.
You were on.
I was very early to this.
Your hot take, your Thorns, Buds, and Roses was a great point about women's college basketball allowing personality into the game, which we do have in college football. I mean, we do have it again
to an extent, but football is very much more uniformed. So this is the way when we kind of rounding the whole conversation around is that essentially you're cheering for a jersey. You don't necessarily get to know the people. Basketball allows you to see the people. You see their facial expressions. You see what they do on the court. You get a better opportunity with them. When I watch men's basketball, college basketball, it's kind of like everybody basically looks very similar to me. Not necessarily, there's not any necessarily personalities. And what I was stating last year was that when I watched women's basketball, that felt like there were a few dominant personalities. women that were on the court, and you could say, oh, that's a signature style. That's a signature somebody, the way they shoot, the way they wear their hair, the way they talk trash, anything that was happening. And to be clear, I like having people that we can point to and say, she rubs me the wrong way. Because I think that's very good for the sport. And I think that brings people's attention. I just am happy that Caitlin has continued down this path, because it wasn't just the shot, Bill. It was the way she celebrated after the shot.
Yeah.
She clapped her hands and kind of like just said, like, look at me. Look how great I am. And she is great. But that doesn't mean that I can't not like you being great. She has a perfectly kind of just a hateable type of character, which you sports. And so I endorse it.
How many she took last night?
Yes.
Yes.
She was 14 of 34. She put up a 40-piece. Congratulations. But she seems to be going more the Kobe route, where I'm going to take 50 shots to get 40 points.
Yeah, the teammates are not necessary for her. Reminder, Dawn Staley's team tomorrow night down in Gainesville. Not unanimous number one anymore. Oh, yeah, we're rewatching it. She puts the hand to the ear.
She does the Hulk Hogan. Come on, man.
Yeah, annoying.
I even hated when Hulk Hogan did that.
Holds.
So, come on.
Yeah,
man.
it's just backing up. Just acts like, I was supposed to do that. Yeah, Dawn Staley's team tomorrow night.
And it only infuriates you because she's really good.
She is good.
That's the problem.
Well, you keep taking 36 shots or whatever you just said.
34.
I could have taken 30. I'd have had one game to get 34 off, and Bailey Harris would have sent me to the line. I would not have been allowed to come back out of the locker room ever. I wouldn't have even been allowed to go through warm-ups anymore. It'd be like one layup in warm-up line would have instantly had me benched. So, but no, tomorrow night in Gainesville, South Carolina opens up SEC play against the Gators. And then reminder, Dawn Staley's team here in town on Sunday, 1 o'clock. That game you'll be able to hear right here on 107.5 The Game. They will take on Mississippi State, who's having a pretty good year as well. Saturday, Preston, Lamont Paris, you want to get into some New Year's resolutions?
Well, we I don't know if we have it all cut up the way we need to. And maybe we can bring this back on the other side so we can make sure we have it cut up. But Coach Paris, Lamont has made a New Year's resolution, and I would just like to know, where do we stand on these things?
Yeah, we'll get into that Saturday noon at Colonial Life Arena. I believe the last I saw, there was only about 200 tickets remaining to be purchased.
Nice.
For the game. That's a Mississippi State's good. They're going to be very good coming in here. They've gotten their best player back, Tulu Smith, who's a big physical dominant post player. But if South Carolina can win that game, it's just a tone setter. It doesn't hurt your season if you lose, as long as you don't get demolished, right? Don't get beat by 25. But it's one of those games where it feels like if they win that game, there's so much momentum right now with Lamont Paris's team, 12-1. There's good vibes. I'm not being funny, but I am kind of being funny. Things don't feel like they're going great for the football program. So fans are looking for something to latch on to like, all right.
Absolutely.
And if you can get both basketball teams, obviously what Dawn Staley's doing, but if you can get the men's team as well rolling along and keeping in people invested and almost kind of taking a little bit of attention away, this is one of those games where you should have a great crowd on Saturday for Mississippi State. You win that game, people will be jazzed up. And I've always said it. I think the vista and the areas down there and the restaurants could make for a great basketball environment because you kind of go park, you can go with your buddies, you go with your kids and have a pregame dinner, or you can have a pregame drink, whatever you like to do and hang out. And then it's within walking distance to head down to Colonial Life Arena. That place, I have a lot of issues with Colonial Life Arena, but when you get a large crowd in there, it is a great home environment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Dawn Staley and the women have proven that. But winning brings people's attention, winning, the hope, the prospect of winning, the idea that this could be good. And I was looking through, shout out to Mike Uva on Gamecock Central. He did an article looking at the previous years. And essentially it looked at when the Gamecocks have taken this type of record into SEC play, traditionally they've had an opportunity to make the tournament at the end. We haven't seen, I don't want to jinx it, but we haven't seen any types of collapse. So this seems to be the trajectory of this team. It looks like we're on the way to following a team making a run towards March.
I think like you said, you win this game if Lamont Paris can win this game, if his team can win this game on Saturday, it just feels like it gives you momentum going on the road this coming week. Missouri, I think it's Missouri. I'm trying to remember exactly the schedule lined up for next week, and the game next Tuesday, and then the following game on Saturday. But it's a interesting. Oh, it's Alabama next Tuesday. It's Alabama Tuesday, and then Missouri the following Saturday. Interesting start to the season for them. But if you can come out, if you can build off of that non-conference start, we'll see. You need Michie to shoot the ball well. Colin Murray Boyles is playing better and better and better. This was a freshman that people were really excited about. It'll be interesting to see what this fan base really does to get behind Lamont. I'll repeat it again. Big Frank Martin fan. Really enjoyed Frank for a lot of different reasons. Lamont's exceptionally easy to pull for.
Absolutely.
And if he keeps winning, he's going to have a major problem. He's going to have fans wanting to come wash his car, and that's what he does to relax. Then he's going to have to go out and supervise all kinds of issues you can have around here as a coach. 803-404-6100. We'll get into a few other things here as we roll along on a Wednesday morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Ever sit in this meeting?
What would you say you do here?
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Think to yourself, man, I'd rather be listening to the game.
You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download our app on all of your devices, and you'll never be without the game again.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. I'm pleasantly surprised that my beloved New York Rangers entered 2024 with the NHL's best record, although they did lose last night. But I'm not focused on the President's Trophy, that's for sure. Their depth has already carried them, but I do hope they add a top 6 right winger for the first line, along with a defense-first centerman to increase their physicality and to reinforce the penalty-killing unit. As we all know, it comes down to special teams and goaltending. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. That's right. For nearly 30 years. That's a long time. Mid-State Roofing has been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Mid-State Roofing's proven history is your assurance that their professionals will provide the proper advice, service, and results. That's right. Larry Leitner, his son Blake, the whole family has taken care of people like you and I, as well as commercial residences, commercial places, high-rises, hospitals. They've done manufacturing to industrial. Mid-State Roofing's design and installs are bonded systems with protective guarantees that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. So call Mid-State Roofing, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You'll get a technician after hours, and you'll get a Mid-State Roofing member actually answering the call before. Call Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919.
Use toothpicks, which were pretty well accepted as the standard method of auditory canal hygiene in the 1920s. Mrs. G decided to wrap a small piece of cotton around the toothpick to protect the eardrum. Leo decided to permanently attach the cotton ball to a stick that was not so pointed, and the swabbing instrument that Leo invented was obviously well received by mothers everywhere. Initially called Q-Tip's Baby Gaze because the children were kept happy. The name was eventually shortened to Q-Tips. Ironically, Q-tips are not encouraged for use in cleaning the ears, but I suspect that hasn't stopped us from using them for that purpose anyway. It just goes to show that great stuff can be produced when problems are addressed with thoughtfulness. The Bible says that even the toughest problems we face can produce patience, love, and faith. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty reminding you that life matters, and so do you.
The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Happy New Year's, people. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
It's only 1 year, right?
Okay, New Year, yeah.
Yeah, singular year.
Okay.
People, Happy New Year. 2024. Here
Yes,
we
sir.
go.
Yes, sir.
Lon Cooper.
What's your New Year's resolution?
Oh, man, where do I start? Well, I'll keep it simple. It's just to get in better physical condition. How about that?
Okay.
And less red meat.
Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat way too much. I need to cut it back a little bit.
Okay. Yes, sir. We appreciate you.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got?
Pretty simple, straightforward. Welcome back in. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. New Year's resolutions, Bill. That was Lamont Paris's resolution. Kept it fairly standard, very basic. We're going to have to ask him about his red meat consumption because now I just picture him just sitting down with like a tomahawk ribeye after a loss and just like,
I mean, I thought he was healthier than that. Remember, he was talking about meal planning. I say healthier, but remember he had a mac and cheese recipe. But
it might be the thing that he goes to.
I gotta admit, I think Lamont fits in well here because he sounds kind of like a foodie based on conversations we've had. Maybe a different kind of foodie because again, we talked about meal prep, but for him, trying to get ready for the new year, slim up a little bit. They're starting to make him some more jazzy, souped up quarter zips.
Yeah, like I said, and as we talked to him, and I just figured out his profile, he's a man that washes his car by hand. You know, he always has a nice fresh haircut out every time. I know he walks past his closet and all those freshly tailored suits, and he's like, man, I can't wear these anymore, man.
Oh, he could. He
can't.
chooses. I don't.
He can't do it. It's a thing.
The question we need to ask him next time is, how many suits do you own?
I bet
I'm going 3 max.
Oh no. I would say you would be way under.
I don't know because when he coached at Wisconsin, he had to wear the suit. And so if you think about it, you have a midweek game, a week game, and then another midweek game, and then you can rotate back to the first suit again.
Nah. I think you're reading his player profile incorrectly.
You think he's got more?
If I set the over under at 15, I'd still take the over.
Oh, really?
I'd still take the over.
Wow.
I'd still take
those
it.
poor bad boys
They're just
are just stuck in that closet.
Maybe that's why he's like, man, I need to get in better shape, man. These are European cut suits. And, because what happens is, and everybody has gotten into this situation. I think a lot of it came out of the pandemic. You just start wearing looser clothes, clothes with a lot more stretch. The quarter zip can maybe hide some flaws that maybe the nice, finely tailored cut suit can't necessarily hide. So maybe he's like, man, I've been wearing these quarter zips for 2 years and I can't get in them.
All right. Who's got more? Now, I think I know the answer to this. And there's a reason I know the answer to this. Who has more suits, Tony Annan or Lamont Paris?
Lamont Paris.
I'm going to go with Lamont Paris, but I feel like there's a trick here.
There is. Tony, I can guarantee Tony does. I'll take Tony in this one by a landslide.
By a landslide?
Because when he coached with the Atlanta United, and he's told me this story, we talked about it, to go watch or to do something, he would have to dress up in the suit.
I bet Tony.
He would have to.
I bet he cleans up very well too.
He would, yeah.
Bet he cleans up very well.
He's good luck to him. I've texted with him a good bit lately. He's recovering from some ankle surgery.
Shout out to you, Coach.
Hope to get him back in here very soon. He's got to go through some rehab. We hope to get him back in. Now that's one. The soccer coaches. Have you paid attention to the Premier League
I
and
love
the
it.
dress?
I love it.
I mean, most of the time they're in the big jackets because obviously over there it's not warm
I
right
love it.
now.
They all have very different styles. Some of them wear suits. Some of them do, again, we're going with Euro cut type of clothing here with the Adidas trainers. I love it. I really do enjoy it. And again, I'm a person, I like seeing coaches on the sideline with their different clothing and the different suits on. I think that's part of the game. So it's something that I do enjoy.
Yeah, I'm taking Tony in the suits and in more suits because I know what he's had to do. But now that I think about it, Lamont's the quarter zip guy. Have we ever seen Tony not show up dressed in black? Like he is the Joe Morrison of soccer coaches, just dressed in black.
Yeah, I mean, when you draw and when you come to South Carolina, I will say, again, no disrespect to anybody else, but these are very nice colors to wear in your everyday life. So it's a good look.
Well, if you do it right, they can be slimming.
Yeah, of course.
Like that. Why do you think Will Muschamp was basically dressed in black all the time? Like, they can be a little slimming if you do it correctly. And
I checked out Will Muschamp's Georgia profile. I think he was under a lot of stress here in South Carolina because he's definitely slimmed down a little bit.
803,
shout out to you, Coach.
803-404-6100. Yep, shout out to Coach Annan. There, we will again hope to get him back.
We have to ask Coach Paris the next time on the over/under on suits. I got a feeling it's an over.
Okay,
but the big question was this, Bill: New Year's resolutions, thumbs up or thumbs down?
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Because some people are like, I don't like them, or some people are like, I make them and then I break them. I want to know where we as the audience where do we feel about New Year's resolutions?
We'll get into that next hour. Some New Year's resolutions. Lord knows we've talked enough about transfer portals and Pup Howards.
That's the New Year's resolution.
And Cam Sadlin. What about Cam?
You think Cam's listening this morning like, this is why I'm leaving? Nobody cares. They've barely mentioned me. This is why I'm getting out of here. Had enough. 803-404. We will get in a little bit more Pup Howard, but there's not a lot to say. There really is in this transfer portal. This isn't going to be the first player that transfers out. It's not going to be the last player. We will talk about the All-American games that are taking place because I think this is in the past, and people would be calling in, demanding we talk more about it. They'd be all fired up because Dylan Stewart and Josiah Thompson are having great weeks at their respective all-stars in their respective positions and games. And you're like, man, we could have them for 1 year and they could be gone.
Different time.
We'll talk about that. Might even give you a little soccer update as well, Premier League. Well, a lot to do. You listen to the early game.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry. If you're looking to freshen up your home, maybe Santa didn't bring you some new cabinets or something. That's something you could do for yourself and change things up. We found locally owned, women-owned CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, and they helped us lay out our new kitchen last year. They showed us options to make things more efficient, more functional, and just kind of a new look for the kitchen. And then we got that photorealistic rendering that I've talked about, but it was so helpful because literally it looked like a photograph of our kitchen that wasn't even put together yet, and that helped putting everything else together. They have a job site guarantee, and that made the installation process go very smoothly. If you need cabinets for your home, maybe a workspace, maybe even an outdoor kitchen, visit chwcabinetry.com or call them today, 803-520-6837. Of course, tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, passion from inspiration to installation.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on 6-packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are just $2.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Don't fumble with your HVAC or plumbing. Call the expert professionals at Cool Care Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Refrigeration to take an official review of your air conditioning, heating, and plumbing needs. They also offer duct sealing with AeroSeal, water heater installation and repair, whole home generators, gas log installation and repair, energy audits, indoor air quality inspections, HVAC and plumbing preventative maintenance plans, dryer vent cleaning, and more. Check them out at coolcarehvac.com.
Breathe easier in your home in 2024 with Zera's air duct cleaning. Right now, when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR50 when scheduling online at ZerasColumbia.com.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Things have definitely picked up on the highways this morning. Highway 1 at I-20, we have an accident there. Also, we're seeing one Highway 262 at Garner's Ferry Road. Also, I-20 westbound right before exit 119. Spears Creek Church Road at Highway 1, an accident there. And I-126 westbound near Greystone Boulevard, reporting an object on the highway. So just a little caution as you head through there. 54 for the high today, 55 tomorrow, overnight lows of 34 and 27 respectively. Might be seeing some rain by Saturday. Actually, a fair amount of rain at that. Right now, though, it's still a chilly start. It's 28.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Sean Cooper from Gamecock Men's Basketball, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Kansas and Illinois. Sounds like a great basketball game, Preston Thorne, but it's Illinois.
A lot of corn. A lot of corn.
A lot of corn. Is Illinois known as the Corn State?
Oh, there's a ton of corn here.
Really?
And Jen Jensen.
There was a school south of us that we played, and they were called, the town was Hoopston, and they were the Hoopston Corn Jerkers. Can't make it up.
Ooh. That's unfortunate.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8 a.m. Let's get up. Let's all be in a better mood. It's cold. Right now, currently, I'm on a mission in between breaks to discover which thermostat in this entire 19-floor building connects to our particular. I'm starting to go from floor to floor to floor to figure out which thermostat connects, because our thermostat in this room says 75 degrees, right, Preston? You see that?
I do see that.
And if this is 75 degrees, I'm going to have to go closer to the equator within the next few years than I realized. But we're having a good time. Hope you're okay this morning. You get up and you get going. Been talking about a lot of different things, from the transfer of Grayson Pup Howard, and we'll get back into that in just a second, we'll get into David Tepper. Also, it turns out there was a special guest at the Rose Bowl the other night. We'll tell you about that. A lot of things. Been talking some basketball as well. Let me get to just to kind of go back and cover several of the things that we've talked about. David weighs in on our Firehouse Subs text line. Wait a week to make the resolution. See how the year is going.
That's a great idea, and I've never ever heard that before. But yeah, let's see what's going on here real quick. I like that idea.
Billy weighing in on Caitlin Clark. She's 100% the Christian Laettner of women's basketball.
Ooh.
AJ weighs in. There's no point in following high school recruiting anymore. Definitely don't get too attached to any player. So we covered three of the things right there off the bat.
Yeah.
And I think the way to do it, when talking about the jerseys earlier and stuff like that, I think, yes, if there's a number that you really like, just go ahead and go number 1, go number 5, and just don't even get real invested in them. So I think maybe that's the way to do it, is just you'll always know you're in with that number.
You
That's
got
my
your
lucky number. Yep. And I still think the Velcro on the back where the name is, still think that's kind of a marketing ploy. Or should be.
And so then that takes us to our live stream where York says, I got grief from my jersey with no number on it. Seems like a great idea right now.
That's very similar to the the Rob Lowe meme where he's just wearing the NFL hat. He doesn't have a team on it. It's just a hat with the NFL. He's like, I go NFL.
Yeah, pretty much.
Craig weighing in says Caitlin is the Eli Drinkowitz of women's basketball, I guess.
Don't disrespect Caitlin that much.
Oh, really?
Don't disrespect
I
Caitlin.
told you I'm starting to have a little bit of a hot take. Drinkowitz is growing on me. If we could beat him, if South Carolina just go 500 against him, I'd be like, I like this guy.
I like him.
I like this guy.
You sure it's not just because drink is in his name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Pretty sure. Seifeld, I believe, on our live stream. See, I when people say this he says, I hope they fix this broken system, referring to the NCAA. I have a lot of friends who no longer will be buying season tickets. I'm one of them. Empty stadiums in the future of college football. Well, number one, and we've said this, college football and the televisions don't want you going to the games. They're not spending billions upon ESPN and ABC and Peacock and NBC and CBS. They're not spending billions of dollars for you to go to the game. And if you don't think people are watching, just look at the numbers, the absolute ridiculous numbers. Did you see these numbers for Alabama, Michigan? One of the highest rated games, college football games that there's ever been. The highest rated game since the initial college football playoff game, not necessarily bowl game, but these numbers are through the roof. And this season, the numbers have been very good once again in terms of people watching. There's a difference, Preston. You agree with this and the Pup Howard situation and the other things we've seen. There is a difference in watching the regular season now and being invested in the off season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's what people will watch football. If you're one of those people out there that says, I don't like the sport anymore, I'm not going to get into it, you're still going to watch. Now your feelings about the off season are going to be entirely different. Whereas in the past, you maybe followed every internet website. You followed all the little videos that were put out by social media teams. Now you're going to probably be almost like you had to be with Frank Martin's basketball roster where, I better pick up a program going into the stadium to know who's whom.
Yeah, and college football had what every other sport, professional sport, is trying to get. Every other sport is trying to claim the off seasons with free agent acquisitions, trade deadlines, schedule releases. College football already had that built in. The challenge for college football is going to be able to see how they can keep that moving forward. And with the texter, with the first part, yes, I agree. The system is broken. It's been broken. It's been a faulty system. It's just been exposed for what it's been. We do need to fix it. I do think people in place will fix it. It might take some time, but I don't foresee empty stadiums or bad ratings in the future.
No, there's not. Now, if your team's losing, there will be empty stadiums. It's going to be that simple. If your team's winning, there won't be. I think what we're going to all have to adjust our mind to, transfer portal, bowl opt-outs, everything, is that there are going to be absolutely two distinct college football seasons. One you're going to be totally invested in, and that's going to be the actual games played with the actual teams. You know, if you're just looking at the schedules, right, Preston, and you look at Michigan, just look at Michigan to go play for the national championship next year. Are you familiar at all with their schedule, with how their schedule is? All right, let me read it to you because it's actually very interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun if you just like really good games. Michigan next year will open up with Fresno State. All right, we probably don't care there, but Fresno State's at least not a pushover. Then they play Texas. Then they play Arkansas State. But then they play Southern Cal. They will play at Washington. They'll play Oregon next year. They will also play Ohio State. Like, you know, Michigan's really good, and I don't know who their head coach is going to be, if it'll still be Harbaugh and what their roster will look like. But we talk about how difficult South Carolina's schedule is. That's as tough a schedule as anybody in the country. Again, Michigan next year will play Texas in Ann Arbor. They'll play Southern Cal in Ann Arbor. They'll play at Washington. They will play Oregon in Ann Arbor, and they'll play Ohio State in Columbus.
Yeah, that sounds.
Those
like,
are great
that sounds
games.
Like all great games. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Those are great games. And then again, if you just, as we all know, if you just kind of keep it in the SEC, and you look, let's just say, let's just say somebody like Georgia next year, who we've all accused of having an easy schedule every year. Well, next year in 2024, Georgia will play Clemson. They will play Alabama. They'll play Texas. They'll play Ole Miss. They'll play Tennessee. Those are 5 great games. And I didn't, in that list, I didn't count Auburn. I didn't count at Kentucky. I'm not trying to use everybody. I mean, Florida. I don't know, but you get the point. Like, just again, listen to that Georgia. They'll play Clemson, at Alabama, at Texas, at Mississippi, and Tennessee. And I just use those two as an example. College football is going to be really, really fun because you're going to have these incredible matchups on a week in, week out basis.
Right. Yeah, and again, you're going to be cheering for the team, and hopefully your team will have enough players or the players that can be successful. But we will all be there. You're right. The off season is what we're going to recalibrate to.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in. So, Preston, speaking of great matchups and having a slight advantage, Alabama, Michigan. There was a guest somewhere in the stadium that has been highly talked about.
It had to be checked through various methods of social media. I waited for it to hit The Athletic. And yes, it is confirmed that there was one Connor Stalions in attendance, in person, at the Rose Bowl. And what a perfect, just a chef's kiss way to end. Which, by the way, this team, we just act like it didn't happen. In season, broke several rules, got suspended for several rules, caught red-handed with somebody on staff.
Just remember,
as cheaters.
Just remember, the head coach was suspended 6 games. 6. You play 12 regular season games. And this is, I think, while I'm pulling for Michigan now to pull this off.
I mean, it's totally wrestling at this point.
Like,
but
Michigan is basically staring at the NCAA, both arms extended, middle fingers out, being like, we're going to do what we want.
The picture I saw of Connor Stalions, he was looking slyly at a camera. He had a rose in his mouth. I mean, it was. And again,
and did you say he was in the stands?
In the stands.
Okay.
No rumors if he was signaling down on the final play.
Oh man, what we just let that whole story breeze by, and this has to be part of the story that's told if this team wins.
Oh, there'll be a great 30 for 30 on just what the Jim Harbaugh years at Michigan were, from a sleepover with a prized kicker recruit to whatever else he's done. What was it, buying cheeseburgers at a restaurant for recruits? I mean, he's got it figured out. He's like, well, by the time they get around to punishing me, I'll probably have won a championship and be back in the NFL, and I'm golden.
Yeah, it's just going to be who's going to be in the lie in the wake, which obviously the NCAA doesn't have any punishment powers. So
no,
they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll move forward.
Very, very wise. Very wise. And this is Day says Michigan winning it reminds me of Cam Newton winning the Heisman and then ESPN airing the SMU 30 for 30 as the very next program on the same channel, which was, yeah. That's, again, we'll see how it goes, but interesting there. 803-404-6100 is how you can get into everything this morning. David Tepper, this guy, I'll get into some of this. Some people are making some interesting observations on what should have been done because $300,000, it's a lot. Again, I'm sure he was not thrilled to part with it, but does it stop him from throwing another drink? Does it stop him from making a clown of himself again or completely ruining the Panthers? 803-404-6100. Just yes or no. Yes or no. 803-404-6100. are the Carolina Panthers the worst organization in all of professional sports right now? And if the answer is no, who is? I present to you my ace of spades, Preston Thorne. The Carolina Panthers are the worst franchise in all of professional sports right now.
Ooh.
You did say the North Carolina Panthers, right?
Charlotte Panthers.
There you go.
North Carolina
I
Panthers.
like that. Yeah.
They are not in our state.
Nope.
They
Nope.
did build us the nicest Halloween spirit place ever up there, or maybe a Dollar General, whatever they turned that sucker into. But no. Are they yes or no? And if your answer is no, who do you have as a worst professional organization? Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA. Who is worse than the Panthers? You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu. Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner. On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
January is here, and as you've heard me complaining in this studio, it is cold. But you know where it's not? It's at my house. AAA Heating and Air came out to my house last February, put in a brand new heating and air unit, and I couldn't be more pleased. Last July, I felt great. Air conditioner was working perfectly. This January, I felt great so far. Absolutely phenomenal because AAA Heating and Air took care of my family. They'll do the same for you. Right now, if you need a system upgrade, get a free replacement estimate today. You heard that right. Get a free estimate replacement today. Plus, you can enjoy the assurance of a 15-year parts and labor warranty if you do get a brand new system. Just call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Get that free estimate replacement today, or that free replacement estimate. Tell them Bill Gunner from 107.5 The Game sent you. Again, call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Gary Ford, 107.5 The Game with my buddy Adam Vance from Sound and Images. Now, Adam wanted to come in, not so much talk about how great Sound and Images is as a business, wanted to address the cufflink controversy of you walking around with your initials on your shirts.
Terry, yes. I do have to address the cufflink issue. And yes, I would appreciate if you went to soundandimages.net. We've got great commercial audiovisual products for you all day long. My man, Paul McKeon, Tom James, I order some shirts. They come with initials. I come in here, I do a spoof, I do a spiff, whatever you call it.
It's a spot. That's okay. It's okay.
It's your world, boss. I do that. And then all of a sudden I get all this grief. I'm walking down the street. I'm going into, you name the store, and all these people are talking about my cufflinks. So now I'm getting my socks monogrammed. I've got my napkins, paper towel, you name it. Thanks, Terry.
Sound and Images, Adam Vance. If you want to reach out to Adam Vance, just go to soundandimages.net or call 803-791-3925.
At Atkins Law, we are proud alumni of USC. Since graduating, our attorneys continue to be proud supporters of Gamecock sports.
And we understand that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see on the field. There's practice, there's diligence, there's loyalty. All of those things we put into practice every day.
Remember, if you've been hurt on the job, who you hire matters. Call us at 803-251-6406 or find out more at Holly Atkins Law, I'm
Lindsay Miles, owner of the Miles Allstate Agency. We are your local family-owned Allstate agency in Columbia. I am committed to learning about your needs and helping to personalize your protection. From bundling your auto and home insurance with ease to providing financial services such as college savings plans, I can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. Contact us for a free quote at 803-798-4600 or come see us today. 3510 Bush River Road. You are in good hands with the Miles Agency.
The Game On Demand podcast menu. Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner. 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
And for your commute this morning, we're seeing an accident 262 at Highway 378. Also, in the cleanup stage, it should be done by any time, I believe. Spears Creek Church Road near Two Notch Road. And they're saying that they're I-26 westbound before exit 119. Also reporting an accident. There is a report of another accident that actually something on the highway, I-77 northbound at Forest Drive. So just be cautious in that area. If you would, please. And we're looking for a high today of about 53 and 55 tomorrow. Rain coming in by Saturday, so it'll be a sloppy day for sure. But some chilly mornings ahead for sure. Right now, it's 29 on the early game.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8:19 on a Wednesday morning as we get you going here. I've got two good submissions, but one of them I'm going to kind of rule out, and there's a good reason, for worst run franchise. Now, I contend it's the Carolina Panthers. They're trying to win. They are actively trying to win. And David Tepper, good call him Pepper, but David Tepper stinks at his job, is bullheaded. Let me think. It's 8:19. I got 8:20. I know kids are going to school. I got to be very careful which adjectives I use to describe David Tepper. But and he doesn't even seem like a good guy. Like he seems like a villain. And as Scott Fowler wrote about him in the Charlotte Observer, seems like a cartoonish villain. But he's trying to win. He just doesn't know how. Two submissions, two people text in for the Oakland A's. The only thing, the reason I'll and I say give them credit, but the reason I'll keep the A's above the Panthers, the A's management was trying to tank. They were pulling a major league in that they see what, and I look, from a business standpoint, not from a fan standpoint or a tradition or anything like that, from a legitimate just business standpoint, I understand the point of moving to Vegas as opposed to having your team in LA or Oakland. But I don't agree with it. I hate it for those fans. I would hate to be a lifelong Oakland A's fan and your team, like we talk about Grayson Howard, Pup Howard leaving, or we talk about guys transferring out. Well, the University of South Carolina is still going to be here. Your team's still going to play in Williams-Brice Stadium. The team maybe you grew up going with your grandfather and your father, and then now you take your kids. That's still there. I can't imagine losing.
Because they've already lost the Raiders.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point. So I'll
and Golden State, really. Because they were there and they've kind of moved away.
But I'll just say that what that management, it'll be interesting if they go to Las Vegas and all of a sudden they're spending money willy-nilly and they're like in the World Series in the next 3 years. But that was sad. But Elwood hits the other one, and my buddy Benjamin weighed in. The Detroit Pistons are a close second. They're because they've just ruined a very proud franchise.
Yeah, that's very true. And a proud city, a proud franchise. Those people really care. and that's tough on them. But when they signed the coach,
Monty Williams,
when they signed Monty Williams, which by all accounts he's a great man, faith-based, all of that different stuff, but he was fired from the Phoenix Suns. He was fired from the Phoenix Suns, and then he re-upped for his contract, which was outrageous. And I remember thinking, huh. And ever since I had that thought, it's been downhill since then. They have been terrible. Not just terrible, but historically terrible. What was the record this year?
20. Well, they're 3-30.
Okay.
They had a 28-game losing streak. The only thing about them, again, and this is kind of the Panthers, but they are so young right now because of their draft picks and what they're trying to do. Now they're going to get the number 1 pick again, and that's not going to help them.
Are the Detroit Pistons in a trust the process type of situation?
Which is actually, hold on, just real quick, actually kind of funny because at least with the Panthers, or I say with the Bears, but then with the Panthers, the Panthers trade to get the number 1 pick, and then the Panthers would have the number 1 pick this year because of how the NFL does their draft. The Pistons technically could have gotten Wemby and Yana and somehow got worked over for that by the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Spurs had been better, but so some of it I don't necessarily place. This is why I'll stick with the Panthers because they've made moves to put themselves in this position. The Pistons could have had, by the way the NBA would have had the number 1 pick last year. Instead, they get kind of worked over for it. In this situation, the Panthers now had the number 1 pick, but because of dumb moves.
Because of what we did, not the lottery, not anything else, we decided, hey, let's just give this one away.
Yeah.
He decided, not we.
I mean,
he decided.
Do you realize, I just looked at this, do you realize the Pistons last year and the first 33 games of this year, the Pistons are 20 wins and 95 losses over the last 115 games.
And this is when we talked about players going to franchises. We talked about pros. Remember we was talking having the G.G. Jackson conversation last year, where at least the Grizzlies, they felt like they're a winning team. They were trying to get stuff together with Ja, but they were in the right direction. It was a very solid franchise. Remember we kept having that conversation? I feel for any of these young players that go to a franchise like Detroit where you're just losing it and you learn to lose early in your career. It's very hard to break out of that, much similar to a lot of these players that are playing on the Panthers. J.C. Horn, you think about. Obviously, he's been injured. But his whole career, he's had to play under the thumb of this idiot, essentially. And he doesn't know what the rest of the NFL is like because he's only been here under this guy.
Right.
And you only have a limited amount of time, and you have been playing for. We all know what a bad boss is. They have the worst bad boss, and he's not only bad, but he thinks he's good, and he controls all the paychecks. It's a very difficult situation for a lot of those players to be in. I feel for Bryce Young, seriously.
I think just with the Panthers moving forward, we saw how tough it was to get Daniel Snyder out of office, and at least as we know now, as we sit here on January 3rd, it doesn't sound like the Panthers' their office complex, is a hostile work environment. Now, typically these things start to come out a little bit later. You know, Jerry Richardson, Preston makes a face that you can see on the live stream. But yeah, that's kind of part of this is, you don't get that information until later. Daniel Snyder, they started digging and digging and digging. They finally got him. I don't know what they're going to do with Tepper, though. I don't, because it feels like he's clearly, I do feel like he's trying to win, that his ego is so big he's trying to win and not just double his profit. Because quite frankly, I think if he wasn't trying to win, he wouldn't get that upset with a fan yelling at him.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We don't know what happened. But how much could a fan have said from a lower place? He clearly was not physically threatened at this situation. The fan said something to him from his luxury sky, the optics on that, from your luxury skybox, you take a drink and toss it on, which again, this is not the first time he's tossed drinks.
You also, by the way, it should be pointed out, it's not like he had to throw it. If you haven't seen the video, he's kind of, how would you describe it? He's in this box, but there's a lower level.
Right.
Like where people are sitting. So
he had to throw it over some other guests.
People in the box. Now, there was nobody in front of him. There was a guy kind of to his left a little bit out of the way. but to get the drink, it's not like he just reached his arm out the window.
Poured it. No, he threw it out there. Like if you envision somebody throwing a drink in somebody's face, that's kind of the gesture that
almost
was,
classic,
forcefully.
like classic from a TV show, right?
Yeah.
Just classic. Toss a drink in somebody's face. But to his point, and this is why I want to make sure I don't want to misquote him. This was his statement from David Tepper. I am deeply passionate about this team, and I regret my behavior on Sunday. I should have let the NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. I respect NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for my behavior.
You are a bajillionaire. I think you know how to behave in public. I'm sorry. It's not like it was an 18-year-old or a new, 23-year-old that just joined your team. You're a freaking grown-up. Stop it. Not that I have an opinion.
And what word was not very clearly not said in that statement?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, he did not say,
he's not sorry.
He did not say I'm sorry. I don't know if that's for legal purposes or whatever, but he clearly did not.
Is it for legal
Yeah,
purposes?
I don't know how lawyers played with the words or anything, if that's admission of guilt. But I don't like this idea of just saying, yeah, so what? You're
I regret
passionate.
my behavior.
I'm deeply passionate. Okay, so was that fan who was saying something to you. There was 80,000 passionate people in there. That's the whole point. Just because you're passionate doesn't mean that you get to do something stupid.
Yeah. Did you give any grace to the guy who maybe said something stupid to you?
Could
no.
he have been passionate too?
Exactly.
His passion doesn't count.
Elwood weighs in. At least the Panthers won 7 games last year. This year is more an outlier. Is it? Or is this where they're heading?
So we're saying you're at the head of the cusp. You're at the top. This is
the outlier?
Where are we on the trajectory? Are we at the bottom or do we keep going?
Well, it's hard to
30 seconds.
It's hard to go much further. We'll debate that a little bit as well. Get back into Pup Howard a tad. A few more things to get to here as we roll along.
I'm deeply passionate.
Yeah. So if I throw a drink in your face, just deal with it.
It's just deep passion.
I just learned that Jen is deeply passionate about me.
We're
going to have to have a discussion, Jen, off air.
I guess so.
803-404-6100. It's the early game.
Yes, that phone in your pocket or purse will keep you in touch with your family and friends. It will take great selfies of you on amazing adventures or just this morning's breakfast. And it's pretty good in case of an emergency. But the single most important function of your phone is the game.
But both defenses have been this year. What's so funny? A noise.
You can listen anywhere. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the game app now.
It's January 3rd, but you know what? At Love Chevrolet, they know how to kick off the year with a bang. The biggest savings of the year, the red tag sale going on right now, right out of the gate of 2024 at Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Whether it's a Tahoe, a Suburban, a Silverado, maybe an Equinox, Blazer, or Colorado, they've got all of the vehicles involved in the red tag sale, and it's bringing the biggest savings of the year. And Love Chevrolet has the biggest selection they have had all year. So get out to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And as always, again, selection, inventory, second to none, and the lowest price guaranteed. At Love Chevrolet, there's no games, gimmicks, and no ridiculous add-on stickers. Get out to Love Chevrolet today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Get out there and find new roads.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
Find expert ear, nose, and throat care for all ages at Lexington ENT and Allergy. Our board-certified physicians, audiologists, and advanced practice providers specialize in non-surgical and surgical treatment to care for all aspects of ear, nose, and throat disorders, including allergies, sleep disorders, and thyroid problems. We're here to help you and your family breathe easier.
FTC Internet offers powerful connectivity no matter what your family throws its way. Get the best internet experience in the area with plans starting at $39.95 per month for the first 6 months. Plans include a free Wi-Fi 6 smart router, premium Wi-Fi, and the FTC Wi-Fi app to manage your network. To learn more, call 888-218-5050 or visit ftcinet.com. Service may not be available in all areas. Certain restrictions apply. Offer for new internet customers only.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Still working a few earlier tie-ups out there on the highways. Pierce Creek Church Road near Two Notch Road. Also, I-126 eastbound before Greystone Boulevard, there is an accident to report. And we're looking at Clemson Road, between Old Clemson Road and Two Notch Road. Apparently, there is an object on the highway that might be impacting traffic flow. 262 at Garner's Ferry. We're finding an accident there. And aside from that, things that move along okay this morning. But it's going to be cool for the next several mornings. 54 will be our high today, 55 tomorrow. Overnight low tonight, 34. Overnight low tomorrow, 27. Looking for some rain on Saturday, 29 right now on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Eight 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in as we roll along on a Wednesday morning. Brad Crawford will join us on Friday at 8:10 to talk about not only South Carolina, but the SEC as a whole and where they're at and how things are kind of playing out. Again, you asked it, vibe check. You said vibe check SEC. No SEC team in the national championship. Honestly, not the best year for the SEC overall. When you look at out of conference records, where do you put the vibe check on the SEC right now?
It's a good question. When you think about individually as far as teams, I mean, I still think the SEC is the dominant conference in college football. It still is that, hands down, in my personal opinion. But I think maybe we saw that the SEC could get shaken a little bit. And as you said, when you look at the actual conference records, I mean, to quote the guy from the upstate, they won 2 games against the SEC back-to-back for whatever that's worth. So, I mean, I don't know. Some schools, some places, it feels like other teams around the country are kind of saying like, hey, we got our eye on the shot at the king.
Again, college football is going to completely change next year. Oregon, Washington, Southern Cal, UCLA, Big 10, and we know about Oklahoma and Texas and SEC, and we'll see where Florida State is trying to go with this whole situation. But it is interesting to see this year and our general perception of the SEC, which do you agree Alabama got in over Florida State because of the perception of the SEC versus the ACC?
Yes.
Or I don't know which one. I mean, I know there's a lot of factors involved. I assume if Jordan Travis is healthy, that Florida State gets in. But maybe in that situation, Texas doesn't. Maybe, maybe Texas doesn't, and they put Florida State and Alabama in and be like, sorry, Texas, you don't get to be in. I don't know how they would have played that, because the general perception is the SEC this year was still as dominant as ever. But really, as you just kind of pointed out, I don't know if the results on the field indicate that.
The numbers, especially this past year, the numbers don't bear that out. Now, the question, as me, there's no doubt I am an SEC apologist, a loyalist, however you want to say it. So I don't think any of those particular teams playing in SEC schedule week to week, I'm not sure how they would fare within the conference. But on a one-to-one, head-to-head basis, the other conferences do have an argument.
It'll be an interesting offseason, not from a player standpoint, but as we continue to learn more about Oklahoma and Texas, and not just their role in football, by the way, but as in their role in basketball and baseball and everything in 2024. I'm kind of excited about that. But this is, I don't know if you feel the way I do, and I'm not shedding a tear over it, mind you, but when we get to August, all right, man, if you want to say, hey, when we wrap up next Monday night, this era of college football, everything that we didn't like or that we liked, it's officially over. And at this point, you have the super conferences, the transfer portals, the NILs, the new playoff, the new television. I don't know if you're like me where you look at the big picture. What begins, whether you want to say it's January 9th or August 1, whenever, is a brand new era of college football. And coming out of this era, I don't know if you just slap the table and say, yes, the SEC is the most dominant.
So what you're proposing is that the SEC had an era of dominance.
I'm saying that the
SEC
SEC did completely dominate the last 15. That's not even I'm not having to say that. You can look at the numbers and the championships and everything.
Very clear.
And there's no real reason to think it won't continue. But I also think that if you look at how things are shaking out, I don't think it is as clear cut as it has been over the last 15 or 20 years. I'm interested to see the new Big 12. This new Big 12 where you're now bringing Utah and Arizona State into this particular, in Colorado, but I'm not sure what to think about Colorado. Just that's a whole another discussion for a whole nother day. But this new era of the Big 12, and I know you lose Texas and Oklahoma, but what that looks like, because right now, at least when you're adding Washington, who's in the national championship, and if the Big Ten, let's all know what we would have done. If Texas would have beaten Washington, we'd be like, SEC's back in the championship.
SEC.
Yeah, we'd be
SEC.
You'd be like, we're in. We're in, baby. That's our program. It's after January. Like, we'd have come up with all kinds of excuses. And if I'm the Big Ten, I'm pointing out, hey, we got two of our teams in the national championship. That Pac-12, who are they again? Oh, they're a Pac-2. Season's over, baby. Sorry, it's like we're celebrating that shit. Pac-12 cannot next year. I would assume Pac-2. I don't even know if there'll be Pac-2 commercials. Like, our conference is full of champions. I don't know if you can do that, but if I'm the Big Ten, I'm acting like we're about to win a championship with two of our teams playing, right?
Not true. So yeah, why not spin it the way you can? Spin it however you can.
Yeah, I mean,
of course, that's when the SEC would say that two of our schools were in the college football playoff. So you can still just let your PR people work for you. Figure out a name.
You take advantage of that. Again, it's going to be interesting. Anonymous texter says, did the SEC dominate the last 15 years, or Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia? The SEC did. The SEC. Florida won it in the last 15 years.
The thing that won, and I forget, I get shaky on my years, but the year that Florida beat Ohio State, what was that, like 06 or something along those years? It felt like that was when the guard changed. As a nation, everybody was very surprised that Florida beat Ohio State. Yeah. And then it seemed like things changed pretty much after that. I forget which year it was, but yes, I would say for the last 15 years, I think it's pretty clear the SEC has been dominant.
09 BCS championship. 09. Well, that was actually Florida and Oklahoma. That was actually the 08 season, the 09 game. But you've had Florida, you've had Bama, you've had Georgia, you've had LSU. They've all won national championships. Technically, Florida State. I said it's not technically. Florida State has won a national championship. Auburn won a championship.
I forgot Gene Chisholm.
Sorry. Yeah. The SEC dominated. That's 5 national championships in that 15, and that's 5. That's 5 teams. I'm sorry, 5 teams that have won a national championship out of the SEC over the last 15 years. Obviously, Alabama leads the way. Georgia's got 2 in there as well. So no, the SEC dominated the last 15 years. I don't know if we're going to see that again over, let's just say, the next 15 years. 803-404-6100. Jen is fantastic at her job. She has tracked down, this is audio yesterday of David Tepper talking to the NFL and explaining his side of the drink throwing situation. Here is David Tepper yesterday This is what we believe is a conference call that he is having with Roger Goodell to explain what occurred throwing the drink in Jacksonville. Here's David Tepper yesterday.
Was that wrong? Should I not have done that? I tell you, I got to plead ignorance on this thing, because if anyone had said anything to me at all when I first started here, that sort of thing was frowned upon.
There you go, Preston. Just didn't know. That's why he's not sorry. He didn't know.
I didn't know he couldn't do that. I'm sorry.
I'm a millionaire. I'm a billionaire, whatever he is. I can throw drinks on people. This is how it goes.
What I do.
803-404-6100. Thank you, David Tepper, for trying to explain your side of it. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Got something to say? Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. At 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Science with the CBS Sports Minute. Our penultimate penalty lap track is littered with eggshells after the Dolphins, Eagles, Bucks, Vikings, and Brad Allen's officiating crew in the Detroit Dallas game all laid eggs. Hey, folks, we're not just talking supermarket eggs. We're talking super jumbo, organic, free-range eggs. Maybe even huge ostrich eggs, if you ask me. Hell, Jurassic Park dinosaur eggs even. When the postseason starts, will these teams elevate their play? Not likely. I'm Boomer Science. CBS Sports Radio.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. That's right. Mid-State Roofing has been taking care of us for nearly 30 years because they are the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Mid-State's roofing history is your assurance that the professionals at Mid-State Roofing will provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to you. Both Larry and Blake Leitner running the company, doing a phenomenal job. And you know what? If you need to speak with someone, give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. You will speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Mid-State Roofing staff member during hours. You can visit them on the web as well, midstateroofing.com. I'm telling you what, they have taken care of not just everybody here in the Midlands, but if you're in Florence, if you're in Myrtle Beach, wherever, call Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919.
In our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are just $2.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The early game with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Final segment of the show. Been a lot of fun this morning as we've cut up. We've obviously talked plenty of Pup Howard and his decision to enter the transfer portal last night. Poor Cameron Sandelin. Just haven't quite cared as much. I don't know why. Oh, I know, because Pup Howard was very adamant that he was going to be the face of the program or the class. Shane Beamer talked about that. We played that audio a little while ago. We'll keep an eye on everything as it moves forward and see what happens. Just a reminder, if you're out there and you're ready to get on social media and let him have it or whatever it is, he can still come back. I don't know if he will. Doesn't sound like he will. He can still come back. Maybe, look, you cannot, and I'm not, this is going to sound awful, and I apologize. I don't think there's a better way to describe it. You can't be naive that every kid that some kids aren't entering the transfer portal just to see what kind of NIL money is out there. I'm just saying it. Speaking of that, let's go out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Brian wants to weigh in about NIL. Brian, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Good, guys. Hey, real quick, I got two, which I think are pretty important questions, and I'm coming at this from a fan. Being a fan, been a Gamecock Club member, done all that, but my decision's been made not to get tickets next year. I think the game is changing, and it's going to be for the worse. I think the fans are going to be the only ones that can fix this. It's our voice that's going to make them fix this problem. My two questions. The opting out in NIL. Now, if these players are getting this money, what's happening with the scholarships that we as fans are paying for? We work hard for our money too. Yeah, they work hard on the field, and everybody says, oh, they deserve it. They should get what they can while they can. What about us? And the second question, if these business owners are paying these NIL deals for these players and it lasts a whole year, why should a player be able to, during that year, enter the transfer portal? There's something wrong here. And the ones that are being affected, the people, us, the fans, I don't care about relationships with players anymore because they're going to be gone. I mean, I've got relationships with George Rogers, Alshon Jeffrey, JD. I mean, these guys are on my Facebook page. And now I don't care who these kids are because they're not going to be around. You know, it's us, the fans, that have to change this. And I'd like to know what y'all know about the situation as far as the school and these scholarships and the year-long contract that they make. I'll take it off air, guys.
All right. Be an interesting way to end the show. What do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about all of this is there's a conflation of so many different issues. And so to answer your question, NIL contracts as between an entity and a player can be laid out however they want to be laid out. If they wanted to include opting in or playing for the bowl game in that contract, they could include that. Obviously, those were not included in these particular contracts. Also, with that being said, NIL was not supposed to, I'm air quoting, so if you're looking on YouTube Live, was not supposed to be about paying for play. Second part, as far as the scholarships are concerned, when the player opts out, they are opting out of that opportunity also, hopefully moving on to another one.
I'll go back on a couple things that Brian just brought up. Number one, I don't think any of those players in the past cared about the fans anyway. Maybe some did. Look, Jadeveon Clowney was taken care of at South Carolina. Okay, just like players across the country were taken care of in some form or fashion. At their elite players were taken care of. You probably know of a few at your time, and it was a different way of doing it. It was an entirely different way of doing it. But players were taken care of. I don't think anything would have changed. Christian, you can't tell me, you cannot convince me otherwise that before NIL, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey were not in some way, shape, or form taken care of at Stanford and LSU. And yet they didn't play in a bowl game. And we started to see this. This trend was growing, number one. That trend was growing in terms of opting out prior to NIL. So I don't think NIL necessarily has changed that. With that also being said, I think people who are declaring the death of college football are overrating it. College football is going to be fine. The ratings are going to be through the roof. People are in some way, shape, or form going to consume college football. The university, I don't know what the number will end up being, how much they'll make off of television money. The actual game on the 100-yard field that's 52 and a half, the 6 points for a touchdown, that sport's fine. The offseason right now is a major issue. They got to get that fixed. Let's try and get one more in real quick. Ty wants to weigh in on the state of college football. Jen, let's get out to Ty real quick here on the Lowe Chevy phone lines. Ty, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, how y'all guys doing, man? I got a quick comment, but let me address the guy before. I mean, I don't know how it hurt him. I think one of the things that the fans are losing their minds is the self-entitlement that they own something. He's doing the best thing for him. I don't know where he's going, but, he's a great player, and I hope he keeps succeeding. But this is, to me, is great. I love chaos because the thing is about this is just the open market. If you got a desirable place, people's going to come. If you're doing everything that you're supposed to, you might lose players, but you're going to get players back. But this is overall going to, and it needs to be tweaked. I believe there should be 2 years, not 1 year, that you can do certain things with scholarships to make it 2 years and certify it that you'll get paid. There's things that can be done, but I like that it's time for change. And I like that the direction, I just need more guidelines and more focus. But if they can fix that year thing, I think it'd be fine as far as how many times you can transfer or how long you got to be there before you can transfer. But yeah, it's gonna be fine. Y'all getting a lot of good players, and y'all got a whole bunch of good players from the transfer portal, and they'll keep continuing.
Hold on a second, sir. I heard you say y'all. What does that mean?
I think Miami fan.
So I'm a Miami Hurricane.
Know
who this is? You know who this is.
I knew who you were. I knew who you were, buddy.
Even with that, I'm going through it. Everybody goes through it. We don't got no quarterback. We ain't got no offensive line. We losing our best defensive players. So it is what it is.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate the phone call, Ty. A lot of good points there. Well, we got 9 months of the offseason, Preston. 9 months.
Let's go.
We'll keep it going. Appreciate everybody being a part of the program today. Thank you for all the input. Hopefully everybody's a little calmer. We will be back tomorrow morning.
And what about Cam?
Poor guy. Send him some love on Twitter. Y'all have a great day. All right, Christmas is over. January's over. If you're like me, you're having to clean the house now. And you know what? One of the more infuriating things is having to clean your carpets, your rug, your tile, your upholstery, all those things. But you know what? You can make it easy on yourself. You can contact Zerorez. That's right, with their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep the carpets, rugs, tile, the upholstery all insanely clean. Zerorez is there to make sure everything is looking absolutely spotless. Give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Again, that's 803-262-4020, or you can schedule online. ZerorezColumbia.com is how you can do that. You just need to mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $109. That's right, just 3 rooms clean for $109. Contact Zerorez today, 803-262-4020. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief.
Y'all have a great day. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow. Be back and cut up more. Tomorrow's Thursday. I like these short weeks. Later.
See y'all.
Take care.